I'm better than you. Said in the chat. Muted. I'm better than you. Said in the chat. Unmute.
Oh my goodness. I do appreciate the folks in the chat for bringing up
I'm better than you.
the whole
Said in the chat.
I appreciate the people in the chat bringing up the fact that my mic was muted.
Unmute, please.
I appreciate the people in the chat bringing up that my mic is muted. I completely missed it. So I guess that means I should redo the intro. I should redo the intro because I also made a mistake when I was doing the intro anyway. So here we go. Let's do it like this. There we go. Test 1 2. This thing is working. Okay, I can't believe that I didn't check to see whether or not the mic was working. But all right. Okay, here we go. Take two. Here it goes. Ladies, gentlemen, and genetic anomalies, what is happening? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And if not, I hope that today's stream makes your day at least a little bit better. I am your host, Nanu, coming to you live from the East Coast of the United States of America, and we've got some things to talk about today. Primarily, we are going to be focusing on speaking about the whole situation with Iran, between Iran and Israel. So I've got these articles pulled up here. I'm going to be diving into whether or not Iran actually has nuclear weapons, if Iran wants to destroy Israel or not, and various things kind of surrounding that big major story. I'll also be reacting to this video here, which is from Fox News, kind of covering Netanyahu's response to Iran continuing to engage in the war, which, to be fair, in my opinion, Israel started this one, even if maybe there was some antagonism with the IAEA report that stated that Iran was doing nuclear development beyond what they had previously agreed, or at the very least hiding what it was that they were doing. There's a whole lot of stuff. I plan on getting into all of that. I'll also be reacting to a couple other videos that are related to the war. But after that, I will be playing the finals with Craig of Craig Cam fame. If you are a long time enough viewer, you guys remember those ancient days. Those were good days. It'll be nice to be gaming with him on the stream. I don't know if we've ever played a game on stream together, so that'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to all of that.
Can you explain what's going on with all this war stuff?
Oh, yes. Well,
possible.
I mean, I'm not the most informed on that, but I did do a very quick deep dive into, the state of, whether or not Iran has military weapons, what their intentions are in the region. So I do plan on covering that in the opening segment. I frankly would recommend you go to a place like Fox News, CNN, but even better than that, something like Live Now from Fox, NBC News, AP News, Reuters, kind of more unbiased sources of information when it comes to covering breaking news topics like this. Of course, if I'm interested and I dive into a story like this and I, find information, I'll share it. But I think in general, I don't know. I am probably not the best person to go to specifically for what exactly is going on in Iran. I have an idea of what's going on, but I don't know every single thing, in large part because I have a job. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the music. Oh wait, hold on, wait a second. There's this thing I wanted to check in my Discord server. Hold on, because I think, is this person about to get banned from my server? Hold on, this person might be about to get banned from my server. Jot says that he's how old?
I'm better than you.
Jot says that he's 14.
I love the way you cover things. That's why I clicked the notification so fast, face with tears of joy.
Oh, I appreciate that. That actually does mean a lot. You should probably check out that on Newbie Highlights channel, because I cover like all my segments that are focused on like news coverage and things I put over there, and I also upload there way more regularly and frequently. Like it's 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I do recommend checking that out if you like my coverage specifically. But hold on, let's see, how old do you have to be to use Discord? I think this is an interesting question, because remember, the reason I'm asking is because this guy previously got banned from my Discord server for being too young, and I was like, yo, you're too young to use this platform, get off of it. It's basically what I did. So the general national minimum is 13. Seems like he clears that. Where's the United States of America? Oh, okay, he's good. I was about to say, I was a little worried. I was like, I hope we don't have this guy who's like too young to be in my Discord server on the server, but he's good. I was starting to get worried. People are starting to rag on him on his age, so I just wanted to make sure I was in the clear, but it looks like I am. So, okay, let's go ahead and dive right into the news, because I do want to hurry up, get to all the news topics so that I can go ahead and play with Craig, because I've wanted to play with him for a while. Yeah, so in the wake of everything going on with the Israel and Iran war, I did want to dive into whether or not Iran has nuclear weapons, and whether or not Iran actually wants to attack and destroy Israel. And this is mainly because I've been looking at some of the punditry, I've been looking at some of the things that people are saying online, especially like the Warhawks. And first of all, we all know that this was all spurned on by the IAEA report that said, hey, Iran has not been complying with basically it's not FOIA exactly, but they weren't being forthcoming and truthful about the stages of their nuclear development program. And so they were very concerned about that. And then like some other countries signed off on that and said, yeah, we agree, that is concerning. And then Israel was like, okay, we'll just attack you then. We'll bomb you from the sky. And then Trump was like, you sure about that? And Israel was like, yes. And then Trump was like, okay, cool. And so, yeah, so on the front end, I want to talk about the state of Iran's nuclear weapons program. Because a lot of people are like, oh, they have nuclear weapons, that's why Israel is attacking. And I haven't heard any proof that Iran actually has nuclear weapons. But then also I want to dive into the claim that Iran wants to destroy Israel, because that's the other argument that is being used by the pro-war folks. They're like, oh, well, we want to we have to go after Iran, because if we don't go after Iran is going to do everything in their power to destroy Israel. So I'm going to go after that claim as well. But first of all, I do want to start with the newest article, because this came out just a day ago. And this is from truthout.org, but I think this is a direct quote from the IAEA themselves. This is what the headline says. IAEA head: we did not have any proof of Iran building nuclear weapons. The quote here is, we did not have any proof of a systemic effort to move into building a nuclear weapon. This is from the IAEA's Rafael Grossi. The head of the leading intergovernmental watchdog for nuclear energy and atomic weapons has confirmed that the agency has not found any proof of an effort to obtain a nuclear weapon by Iran, lending yet more evidence contradicting Israel's self-defense narrative for its war on the country. I'll talk in a different video about why I don't think this might be self-defense, but even if it is self-defense, this is extremely premature and should never have been done the way that it was done. So you're in an interview this week, International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi said that while it's possible that their operations being kept secret from regulators, we'll get to that in a moment, reports that Iran has not been actively pursuing a nuclear weapon since 2003 are accurate. Those claiming to know exact details about Iran moving towards a nuclear weapon are engaging speculation, he told CNN's Christine Amanpour. Let's click on this. I wonder if this has a clip from the interview. Because, you know, we're all React Andes here. We love reacting to videos. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Here we've got a video.
I mean, there is this competition about who is wrong or right about the time that would be needed. Certainly, it was not for tomorrow. Maybe not a matter of years. I would there be perhaps more serious about this, and I don't think it was a matter of years. But this is speculation. Why? I go again to the beginning of my comment. These things we don't know, because if there was some activity which was clandestine or hidden or away from our inspectors, we couldn't know.
So, and this is the thing about the report. People are running away. People are running away with the report, saying like, "Oh, the IAEA reported that Iran has nuclear weapons." Like, no. They didn't claim that they had nuclear weapons. They claimed that Iran was lying about whether or not they had nuclear weapons. Now, to me, that's a strong insinuation that they are developing nuclear weapons. I think that it's fair to say they're either building nuclear weapons or looking into nuclear weapons, but I don't know that they have nuclear weapons. I will say there's a difference between trying to make a nuke and having a nuke. I think if Iran had a nuke, we probably would know about it. If they were developing nukes, especially if they're in early stages of development, which is my assumption from the report, is that they were in the early stages of developing nukes, especially, there's no guarantee that there would even be enough evidence that would leak out for a body like the IAEA to know whether or not that's what was being done. But yeah, big misconception. They never said that they knew that Iran was developing nuclear weapons. It's just that Iran was hiding the true nature of the nuclear weapons program to them, and they're like, well, we can no longer guarantee that they don't have nuclear weapons. Which is very different. It sort of leans towards the same direction of Iran having nuclear weapons, but there's no proof that they have nuclear weapons.
Or away from our inspectors, we couldn't know. What we informed and what we reported was that we did not have, as in coincidence with some of the sources you mentioned there, that we did not have any proof of a systematic effort to move into a nuclear weapon. I mean, there is
that's the quote. That's the quote. Let's see here. This undercuts Israel's claim that has evidence that Iran is working to obtain a nuclear bomb. Israeli officials say they're so sure of this that they have started a war supposedly in order to stop it from happening. Now, I will say this, that it is possible that there's evidence that Iran is working to obtain a nuclear bomb. But again, I think if Iran actually had a nuclear bomb, we would know. Also, Israel, I would suspect, would know, and they would be going public with that information, going public with that evidence, which they haven't been doing. Now, oh yeah, and there's another point too. It says here these claims aren't backed up by any of those sources. As Tulsi Gabbard, the top intelligence official in President Donald Trump's administration, has testified, U.S. intelligence officials have not found evidence of Iran moving toward a nuclear weapon. So no evidence. Now, I don't know why I had this open, but so the original thing was like taken from the report that came from IAEA. The reason this all blew up came from the IAEA report, where they said there has many failures to uphold its obligations since 2019 to provide the agency with full and timely cooperation regarding the undeclared nuclear material and activities at multiple undeclared locations in Iran constitutes non-compliance with its obligations under its safeguards agreement. And that does not mean Iran has nukes. It more or less means we don't know if Iran has nukes and we don't know what they're doing with them, basically. Which to me is not enough cause to go to war with Iran. Now, this was something that I found interesting because I was looking up, I was Googling literally. I was like, does Iran want to destroy Israel? And I found this from the Council on Foreign Relations, I believe. Yes, the Council on Foreign Relations, where they said here, and this was as of a few days ago. Iran does not yet have a nuclear weapon, but it has a long history of engaging in secret nuclear weapons research in violation of its international commitments. Western analysts say the country has the knowledge and infrastructure to produce a nuclear weapon in fairly short order should its leaders decide to do so. I'm not sure how true that is, but it would definitely make sense if this is something they've been studying for decades. Why wouldn't they know how to make the nuclear weapon? Maybe they wouldn't know how to make it very quickly, but they would have some idea, I would assume. It says here, the United States, Israel, and other Middle Eastern partners regard Iran as a primary threat to their interests in the region and view its potential acquisition of nuclear weapons as a game-changing scenario to be steadfastly prevented by force if necessary. And this is not just an isolated thing. Like, inside the government of Iran, there has been just a historic and consistent line of rhetoric, which I could find leading up to about like 2023. It seemed like they softened their rhetoric in 2023 because we're like, oh, well, I mean, this might give us some problems on the international stage. But consistently, over time, Iran has been using extreme rhetoric, calling for the destruction of Israel, and at times saying that they want to destroy Israel. This here comes from 2005, and this was from an old leader. This is from Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. The headline here is from The Guardian: Israel should be wiped off map, says Iran's president. Iran's new president created a sense of outrage in the West yesterday by describing Israel as a disgraceful blot that should be wiped off the face of the earth. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was more hardline than his predecessor, told students in Tehran that a new wave of Palestinian attacks would be enough to finish off Israel. Yeah, wow, that aged well. The populist leader's comments, see footnote, I don't know what the footnote is, reported by the state-run media come at a time when Tehran is under pressure over its suspect nuclear weapons ambitions and alleged involvement in attacks on British troops in Iraq. He said, anyone who recognizes Israel will burn in the fire of the Islamic nation's fury, while any Islamic leader who recognizes the Zionist regime means he's acknowledging the surrender and defeat of the Islamic world. He was addressing a conference titled The World Without Zionism. Now, this is quite extreme rhetoric, and this is pretty bad. Now, to be fair to Iran, Ahmadinejad is no longer in power. But the rhetoric didn't stop there. This happened in 2020, not 2020. This happened in 2014, where, let's see here. Iran's supreme leader made a call to annihilate the state of Israel. Unable to load video. I don't know why. It's impossible to load the video. But the video is titled "Nuclear Talks at Risk" by Iran's comments. Hold on, let me see if I can get the actual video here. Nuclear talks at risk by Iran's comments. Having trouble finding this video. I'm not sure why it's not loading. It's kind of strange. But it says here, new document by Iran's supreme leader calling for the elimination of Israel shows that world powers must not rush into a deal on the country's nuclear program, despite an upcoming deadline, Israel's prime minister said Monday. There's no moderation in Iran. It is unrepentant, unreformed. It calls for Israel's eradication and promotes international terrorism, Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement. Let me see if I can find the quote. Okay, here we go. The Iranian leader made his call for Israel to be annihilated on Twitter over the weekend, mixed in with tweets insisting that Iran is committed to diplomacy on other issues. Khamenei posted a series of tweets slamming Israel. Among them was a document called 9 Key Questions About the Elimination of Israel. While he and other Iranian leaders have spoken similarly of Israel in the past, the one-page document packed with specific details was new. It says, the proper way of eliminating Israel is for all the original people of Palestine, including Muslims, Christians, and Jews, wherever they are, whether inside Palestine in refugee camps or in other countries or just anywhere else, take part in a public and organized referendum. The Jewish immigrants who have been persuaded into immigration to Palestine do not have the right to take part. It is unclear who Khamenei thinks the original people of Palestine are, given the region's history dates back thousands of years and includes countless waves of immigration and exile, which is a really good point here by CNN. So here, he's claiming basically for Israel to be overthrown, basically calling for an inverse mandate for Palestine. If you guys remember, I think in 1947, 48, or no, back in the Balfour Declaration. Sorry, I'm mistaken. Back in the 1910s, I believe. Basically, the UK and the UN, whatever, they all came together and they were like, let's plan a future for Palestine without the Arabs. And here, basically, he's calling for the inverse of that, where it's like, let's plan a future for Palestine without the Jews. Which, yeah, this is basically an inverse Balfour Declaration is basically what he's calling for there. But Khamenei has been consistent in saying that Israel needs to be either destroyed or toppled. This headline here is from the Times of Israel, and this dates back to 2019. It's not anti-Semitic. Khamenei defines Iran's goal of wiping out Israel, belying Tehran's relentless, belying, I don't know how to say this, but belying Tehran's relentless threats to ensure nothing left of Jewish state, raise Tel Aviv and Haifa. Leaders say aim is to abolish regime and get rid of thugs like Netanyahu. Now, that's a bit more direct, isn't it? A bit more direct to say that they want to raise Tel Aviv and Haifa. That's a lot stronger than saying, oh, well, maybe there needs to be some sort of regime change in Israel. It says here, here it is. The disappearance of Israel does not mean the disappearance of the Jewish people because we have nothing against Jews, Khamenei said, speaking alongside senior Iranian officials at the so-called 33rd International Islamic Unity Conference. Wiping out Israel means that the Palestinian people, including Muslims, Christians, and Jews, should be able to determine their fate and get rid of thugs such as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Khamenei continued, according to Iranian media. Khamenei further argued that, quote, had the Islamic world been committed to unity, there would have been no tragedy in Palestine, end quote. He lamented that Muslims couldn't even adhere to what he called the lowest low of unity, non-aggression between Muslims. Now, let me see here. Now, to be fair, this guy's calling for unity. I don't know if the Jews and the Muslims could ever agree on what to do with the state of Palestine. So he's calling for unity, but the unity would need to be yielding. One side or the other would have to make some compromises. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to do that, and that's why things are the way that they are right now. Now, if everything was down to rhetoric and not action, that would be one thing. But Iran has actually taken steps to have Israel destroyed, and this is by funding terror groups. So they fund Hezbollah, they fund the Islamic resistance in Iraq. I've never heard of the Popular Mobilization Forces, but they've also funded the Yemeni Houthis as well. They've also funded Hamas at times. There've actually been a lot of rumors that funding to Iran, which was started up right when Joe Biden became president, immediately caused the October 7th massacre because Iran is a funder of Hamas. Iran got a bunch of money, and Iran was like, oh, okay, well, we can free up some funds that we already have, replace them with the humanitarian aid that we got from the United States, and give the money that we already had in cash to Hamas that they can use for whatever their purpose is. When they got the money, then Hamas did the terrorist attack. It's up to you whether or not you think that it's just a coincidence and things just happen by chance, or if you think that these two things are correlated. I think they're correlated, but there's no solid proof of that. But yes, all these terrorist groups, all of which hate Israel, some of which are anti-Semitic, I believe. I don't know if all of them are, but I believe at least some of them are anti-Semitic, are funded by Iran through something known as the Axis of Resistance. So generally, if you hear about a terrorist group, they're either one of these groups or they're aligned with such groups. So I think that this answers a couple questions for us, in my opinion. I think this answers a couple questions for us. First of all, Iran, there's no proof that Iran has a nuclear weapon. They probably want to get a nuclear weapon, and it is very, very likely that they are in some stage of development of a nuclear weapon, because I frankly don't think that they would hide the state of their nuclear program if they weren't actively developing nuclear weapons. Because if they were in compliance with their previous nuclear obligations, then there's really no need to hide anything. Now, I've heard claims that, they're just working on nuclear power to have an additional source of energy for Iran. I've seen no evidence of this. I've seen no claims from them that this is what they are attempting to do. Now, maybe I haven't dug enough, but it seems a lot more likely that they are developing a nuclear weapon, even though there's no solid evidence of this being the case. Now, I think that we have a much more firm answer on the question of, does Iran want to destroy Israel? The answer is very clearly yes. Now, the rhetoric coming from Iran has been, if they can do this peacefully, or at least about as peacefully as the formation of Israel was, then that's what they would prefer to do. But if not, then it would be justified to actually do an attack, right? Because remember, back in 2019, Khomeini was like, well, I want to raise Tel Aviv and Haifa. So very clearly, he is not opposed to destroying Iran through violent means. So I feel like this does set the stage for kind of like what are Iran's goals in the region, and it does explain why Israel might be afraid of Iran having a nuclear weapon. And I think it makes total sense. And this is a country, by the way, where death to America chants are quite common, to the point of, I think I found one link where a leader in Iran had been inaugurated, and as he was giving his speech, there were chants of death to Israel, death to America in the crowd. And I didn't include that in my coverage and analysis because he did not condemn or support those chants. So it's very unfair for me to be like, oh, look, here's the state of Iran supporting this thing. And the majority of the citizens supporting something doesn't mean the government supports it either. So there's that to take into account as well. But very concerning in this whole situation. I know that Israel kind of started this war in the hot sense. I think that they should have gone to diplomacy first. At the end of the day, none of this would have happened if Iran was more forthcoming about what they're doing with the nuclear weapons. If they're not doing nuclear weapons and they're instead of working on nuclear power, then they should have come forward and said that and been more open with the IAEA about what it was that they were doing. There was no need to hide what they're doing with nuclear weapons with the IAEA if they weren't doing anything concerning. The fact that they were hiding what they were doing in and of itself is very concerning. I just don't think that was the proper response, but that's just what I found in my deep dive. All right, so one thing that I've been kind of curious about is whether or not in a conflict between Israel and Iran, Israel would be able to defeat Iran, because the general consensus that I've heard is Israel has better weapons, and Israel is their military industrial complex is a lot more robust. Iran doesn't have a connection to the same level of weapons and military equipment that Israel has, so they would be at a disadvantage. And America does have some of the most advanced America does have some of the most America does have some of the most advanced military weapons known to man, and with America on their side, I assume that Israel would win. But I've been seeing online that there's some debate about whether or not Iran would defeat Israel. Now, many of that has been just on like the peer-to-peer space, right? When you've got like just normal citizens and individuals arguing amongst themselves. I have not seen a single analyst say Iran would probably beat Israel, but I've seen the top-down stuff saying, "Oh, Israel would probably beat Iran in a head-to-head conflict." I haven't seen like the rationale. I haven't seen the rationale of why Israel would defeat Iran. So I'm going to react to this video here. This is from Sky News. It's called Israel versus Iran, who has the best weapons.
Israel and Iran have both been preparing for this confrontation for decades, so how do they stack up? Well, on paper, Iran far outnumbers Israel in terms of active and reserve personnel. Iran is a much bigger country than Israel, 86 million people to Israel's 10 million people, so the Iranians have got...
I didn't know this. For some reason, I thought that Israel was had more citizens than Iran, but because I was wrong. I mean, geography was never my strong suit, so...
960,000 personnel. Israel have got 634,000. But this war, of course, won't be about who has the more manpower. It's really about who has the best technology, particularly in the air war. And on that score, there is a clear and obvious winner. So let's look at the attack capabilities. Now, first, Israel's weapon of choice. Of course, there are its fighter jets, the F-15, the S-16, and the F-35. Very stealthy. The F-35 can get through radar defenses undetected. Very, very useful weapon system for the Israelis to operate. The Iranians, they operate much older Russian jets, and they've lost some of them. They don't work as well. And so instead, they've built up a huge stockpile of missiles and drones, and they include the Shahed 136 that we've seen much of in Ukraine, the Imad, the Khorram Shah big missile, but this one, the Fatah. There's a whole family of Fatah missiles. They work. The most modern versions of them are thought to be hypersonic, which are really very difficult to defend against. In total, it's estimated that the Iranians may have 3,000 of these ballistic missiles. Most estimates would say it's probably nearer 2,000, but undoubtedly they have a lot of them, and they could...
Now, I don't know if you heard the news, but Iran, they busted through the Iron Dome and they were able to hit, I think, was it Tel Aviv, some part of Israel. And I think, this Fatah missile, at least one the weapons inside of this family of missiles, is hypersonic, and that does help explain how they were able to get through the Iron Dome. Because I don't know if anyone has tested shooting a hypersonic missile into the Iron Dome, or whether or not that is something that can work or not.
To keep throwing them at Israel over the coming days and weeks if they chose to do that. And Israel claims that Iran was building up the capacity to manufacture 300 ballistic missiles a month. And that, with their ranges, would put Israel and hundreds of US bases in the crosshairs around the region. So if you look at a range map, undoubtedly, the Iranians have a big capacity building in terms of their ballistic missiles and their drones. Now, over the years, Israel has the most advanced defense system in the world, and it's built it up. And it's getting support from United States assets in the region. And that system, most people call it the Iron Dome, but Iron Dome is only one type of missile. So there's the Iron Dome missile itself, there's David's Sling, which is a high-altitude, short-range, very fast missile, and there's the Arrow 3. Probably the best of the whole bit is the Arrow 3. That probably works the best of all. But between them, as well as with some Patriot missiles, they create this sense of a dome, a multi-layered dome that sits on top of their population centers that can cover the whole country, because it's a small country, and give them close to 100% protection. But of course, no system will ever give you 100% protection. Now, you can see here, action over Tel Aviv. A few missiles did get through, but the vast majority were intercepted. But no system is ever 100%, because any system can be overwhelmed with sheer numbers, and in that respect, we know that Iran does have the numbers. But in contrast, Iran's air defenses are older, they're weaker, and they've been badly hurt by Israel already. Now, the IDF...
So it sounds like, now I may be being a bit premature, we are 3 minutes into a 4-minute video, but it seems like Iran could destroy Israel if they play dead and fired enough weapons. Also, I'm not sure how many weapons it would take to get through to destroy Israel to the point where Israel would actually lose a war. I think that Hamas in Ukraine have proven that you can be losing a war but still be fighting for quite some time. So I don't even, out of all of them, a whole bunch of missiles were fired at Israel. I think probably hundreds of missiles, and only like 2 or 3 of them got through the Iron Dome. So I would even have questions about whether or not Iran would run out of weapons, run out of missiles before they would even have gotten enough missiles through the Iron Dome to actually destroy Israel.
But in contrast, Iran's air defences are older, they're weaker, and they've been badly hurt by Israel already. Now, the IDF have actually looked at some of these systems. The S-300, an old Russian system, doesn't work that well these days if you know where it is, the Korad 15 and the Tactical Hunter. They're okay, but they're quite old. And the IDF has released these images of them attacking Iranian surface-to-air missiles near Tehran. And there they are. If they can spot them, they can destroy them. They've got enough intelligence to know where they are, even those which are mobile, like the S-300. Once they've spot them, then effectively they're dead if the Israelis decide to go for them. Finally, Israel has the one thing that they don't want Iran to have: nuclear weapons. The Jericho-2, which is a nuclear weapon-tipped missile. The Israelis will never confirm or deny whether they have nuclear weapons, and they deny that they are running a nuclear program in this way, but we all know that they are. They have the Jericho-2, it is nuclear. The Iranians would love to have what the Israelis have had for years. And in response to these attacks, the Iranians talk a very good game. They talk big, and they can certainly hurt Israel. But in a war of the skies, which this is going to be for some time yet, Tel Aviv certainly has the upper hand.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think now, I actually didn't know that Iran's missile defense system was so poor and so old, but I always knew that with the Iron Dome, it would be very, very difficult for Iran to defeat Israel. I kind of would be interested in hearing the other side and the other perspective of how Iran could defeat Israel if they could, but just based on the analysis of all the weapons that are there, it seems quite unlikely that Israel would lose to an all-out war with Iran. I think that's why Iran has been so careful lately, right? We haven't seen the strong anti-Israel rhetoric from Iran over the past 2-3 years. And I think, they also have not really directly antagonized Israel. They funded Hamas, they funded the Houthi rebels, they funded other terrorist groups that fight Israel, but they have refused to fight Israel directly until now, specifically because of the implications. If they know, I think if they go into a direct conflict with Israel, that they would lose. Now, of course, if Israel starts war with them, then Iran has an excuse to go after Israel. And also now with the Israel-Hamas war, Israel's under a lot more scrutiny than it has been in years past, and probably is going to have to be a bit more careful as far as how they decide to attack Iran. Maybe 5 years ago, Israel would completely level Iran, or at least be a lot more aggressive and start a war of the scale of the Israel-Hamas war. Nowadays, not so much, I don't think. So it'd be interesting to see how things play out. I do suspect that because of Iran's vulnerabilities and how they have an inferior military and weapon system, they probably will end up coming to the negotiating table, making some form of concessions, and then doing so in a way that appeases Israel and the United States, and then the war ceases. But I don't know how long that will take. Also, Trump has to be more willing to listen to the sides of the Americans who are like, well, hey, let's go the diplomatic route, versus the Israelis and the pro-war individuals and the war hawks who say, yeah, let's just go and destroy Israel and destroy Iran and give Israel everything that they need. That I think will matter and be a factor as well. Hey, Berlino, what's up? Nice to see you here in the YouTube chat. Just going over some Israel-Hamas war stuff very, very quickly. Let me see here. So let me see. Is Craig online? I do want to react to one more video before I hop on. Real quick. I do want to react to this. So Tucker Carlson recently had Ted Cruz on his podcast to talk about not just the Israel-Hamas war, but his general stance on war. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that I am not a fan with Tucker Carlson's position on war. Actually, I can look this up here. Tucker Carlson's views of war, I think, are a little bit childish and immature. I think, here, let me look this up. Tucker Carlson, let's see, civilian deaths. Tucker Carlson's position is basically that if you can't do war without collateral damage and civilian casualties, you shouldn't do it, and it's evil. Here, let me see. Where is it? Where is this? I'm having trouble finding this clip, actually. Yeah, I don't know where this clip is, but actually, you know what? I can actually find it here. Let me go this way. Let me go here. So if I go here into the interview, go down. Okay, here we go. All right, yes. So to me, I think that Tucker Carlson's position on war is a little bit silly and a little bit naive. So here's what he has to say about the about war and civilian casualties and collateral damage.
Potentially millions more people die.
It's no defense of Imperial Japan or Pearl Harbor or Franklin Roosevelt for allowing Pearl Harbor, which he did. It's not a defense of any of that to say if you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. Maybe you could make the
I agree
case,
with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's really threatening to.
Is it evil, though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
Is it evil?
to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally...
To kill women and children? Really?
If there's a world war that threatens
Call it whatever you want.
if it threatens the entire world, yes.
Some people killed your kids, like your 8-year-old? Like,
obviously,
how
it's your
is
own
that
children.
morally
Of course,
justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to... by your criteria...
It's disgusting.
Okay, it's nothing...
So Tucker Carlson's position here is that war is bad because it kills people. Now, I do agree that war is something to be avoided, and I actually think that war is something to be bad. I also think that war is bad as well. But if diplomatic solutions fails, war is the backstop. War is actually, the threat of war is one of the things that can push people towards coming to the negotiating table, because without the threat of war, people can be like, oh, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm not gonna play ball with you guys. I'm gonna take my stick and go home, and I'm gonna keep on doing whatever it is that you didn't want me to do, whether it's building nukes to attack somebody or I don't know, like enslaving our entire population, taking all of the Muslims and massacring them and selling them for parts like China does with the Uyghurs. Look up the Uyghurs in China. That's a whole situation. And we're not forcing them to say, hey, stop doing that for some reason. I don't know why we think that China systematically taking up all of the Uyghur Muslims, shaving off all of their hair, killing them, and then selling their organs, basically literally taking all the Muslims and selling them for parts, is more justifiable than Nazi Germany. I don't understand why people view China in that way and sort of turn a blind eye to what they're doing over there. But all of that regardless, if there is a nation that is like, we want to blow up the whole world, let's say, for example, it's justifiable to go against that nation and be like, hey, you want to blow up the whole world? We're going to take you out before you develop nuclear capabilities that would be at the point where you actually could destroy the whole world. Or let's say that there's one nation threatening to take out 5 other nations. It's justifiable to go to war with that nation as well. That's actually one of the things with Nazi Germany, where Nazi Germany was doing was wrong, of course, but people didn't want to go to war with them until they started trying to expand their borders, because it's like, well, hold on, you are threatening the sovereignty of other nations to impose your will upon them when democratically that's not what they want to do. That's wrong. And so, like, when one nation tries to attack another nation, of course it's fair to engage in war with them. That's why I'm not mad at Iran firing back at Israel when Israel fired weapons at Iran. But also, I do completely understand at the same time Israel firing on Iran. They shouldn't have, but I understand it, because, you know, it seems like Iran is developing nuclear weapons. There's no proof of it, but it seems like that's what's happening. And, you know, it's been very clear over the past several years, even multiple decades, that Iran wants to destroy Israel. They've literally talked about toppling Tel Aviv and Haifa. Destroying Israel is something that they want to do. They fund terrorist organizations that commit terrorist attacks against Israel. They've actually funded Hamas, which committed the October 7th terrorist attack. With forces like this, it's completely fair to go to war with them. Tucker Carlson's position is that war is bad under any circumstances and it should not be done, and it is evil, which I disagree with. So here we have Tucker Carlson, the ultimate war is bad. I don't want to say shill or grifter, but that's his position that he keeps on trying to shove down people's throats. And we have Ted Cruz here, which is very strongly pro-Israel because he's an American politician. I wonder how much AIPAC money he gets. But let's wait, hold on. Let's just not throw accusations out here. How much AIPAC money does Ted Cruz get? Because I want to get my facts straight. I don't even know if he does. Does Ted Cruz get AIPAC money? I mean, he's not Lindsey Graham, so he might not get AIPAC money. Let's see. Okay, so according to Open Secrets, Ted Cruz has gotten almost $2 million from AIPAC. I think this is AIPAC, right? Probably AIPAC. It says money for pro-Israel to U.S. senators. This money comes from employees or PACs affiliated with the industry, not from the companies themselves. So probably AIPAC. But yeah, he gets special interest funds from Israeli sources. So, you know, that might play a role as well. I mean, hey, if I was being paid to do a certain job, I don't think I'd badmouth the people paying me. So
you've come out for regime change in Iran, as distinct just from taking.
By the way, I do want to clarify, I think that regime change is actually almost worse than war. It's the basis for wars. It's like you're messing with other people's democratic processes. You're trying to overthrow, many times, what those other foreign countries have decided to do democratically, destroying their democracy or manipulating it in some way, at the very least. I think that's wrong. I strongly oppose. I oppose regime change in the way that Ted Cruz I oppose regime change in the way that Tucker Carlson opposes war. Let's put it that way.
So you've come out for regime change in Iran, as distinct just from taking out the nuclear sites. What does regime change look like in Iran?
Somebody else in charge.
How do you get there?
Look, that ultimately has to be a popular uprising from the people. And it's not a complicated question.
Now, the thing is, you can manufacture that with regime change. Very well. I mean, he's clearly supported that. So, I mean, that's not even like a big revelation there.
Is America better off with a country that has a leader who hates us and wants to kill us, or to have a country with a leader who likes us and wants to be friends with us? And
Definitely the latter's better.
of course.
Yeah.
And so that's not a complicated statement. Look, I believe you look across the world when you have countries that have dictators that are viciously anti-America. Venezuela, Maduro hates us. Would we be better off with Maduro out of power? Absolutely. I want our enemies out of power, and I want our friends in power.
I could not agree more. The question is, how do you get there?
Of course.
We've been trying to kill Maduro for quite some time. We have troops there, as you know.
I don't know that we've been trying to kill Maduro.
We have. And I think you know that. And
I don't know that.
okay, well, that's a statement of fact we have. So
Why is he trying to give like these like sly digs to Ted Cruz? It almost sounds like he's trying to get under his skin here.
We do have massive sanctions. We tried to pressure him out of office.
yeah,
I'm
there's all kinds
not
of
aware
stuff.
of efforts.
I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure coming from various parts of the U.S. government on that government, and it's still there.
Yeah.
Same, the country of our ancestors, Cuba. 1959. We've been working on that. Hasn't worked. So it's. I think we both agree it's hard to do.
It absolutely is hard. And look, I think you're reasonable to ask, how do we produce that? And I think there's a distinction between what your objective is and the means to get it. There are all sorts of things I would say we would be better off. We'd be better off in China without Xi there. Should we invade China and topple Xi? Of course not.
Better off with no national debt.
There are lots of things.
Totally.
But it's good to say, all right, what are our objectives?
Right.
And so with the Ayatollah in Iran, saying you're for regime change, I don't view as complicated. I mean, the guy literally leads mobs chanting death to America. So that's not good.
Definitely not good. But the reason I think it's important to get a little more detailed about how that might happen is because there's military action in progress, which we're supporting. And the president has said clearly, including last night, that he is focused on eliminating the capacity of the Iranian government to produce nuclear weapons. You are saying we need to use military force to effect regime change.
I have not said that.
Oh, I must have.
No, I have not said that once.
Okay.
I don't think we need to use military force to do regime change. I said I support it. I would like to see it happen. You asked me how should it happen? A popular uprising. What I've advocated for. All right, let's step back a second.
So basically, it's like he would support anti-Iranian terrorists going in and toppling the government, but he would not support America doing that. Now, I don't know if he would support America funding other people to do that in the same way that Iran funds terrorist groups to attack Israel. Be an interesting question to ask him. I wonder if Tucker Carlson poses it to him here.
You and I, we've known each other a long time. I would say we agree on about 80% of the things on Earth.
For sure.
And there are a lot of things, and we can get into the nitty-gritty of foreign policy as much as you want. There are a lot of things on which you and I agree, not just a little bit, but violently.
I totally agree. I was rooting for you in your last campaign, for sure.
Well, thank you. Look, you have been heroic on the border. You've been one of the clearest and best voices in.
I just want to point out, it's very, very clear. Very, very clear that Tucker Carlson, it's very, very clear that Ted Cruz is buttering up Tucker Carlson here. So I wonder what this take is going to be. Because you don't say all of these things if you're not going to say something that's about to piss the other person, the person on the other side of the table off. So really curious to hear what this take is going to be.
In the whole country on securing the border and the absolute crisis we're facing. And in Texas, I see it and live it every day. In COVID, in fact, you may recall in the middle of the COVID lockdown, I was out walking my dog when the whole world was shut down and we were living in lunatic times. And I called you and said, Tucker, your nightly monologues are the single best thing on television. Like I watch them like an injection of crack. Okay, I'm mixing my metaphor because you don't inject crack, but you get what I'm saying. No, I mean, you were standing up and speaking like, what the hell are we doing, in a way that we desperately, desperately needed. And so whether it's securing the border, whether it's the insanity of COVID lockdowns and the vaccine mandates, whether it is the Second Amendment or the First Amendment, you and I agree on a ton of stuff. The 20% where we disagree, I do think is meaningful. And it's mostly in the foreign policy space. And what I would say if you'll allow me to get a little theoretical, and then I'm happy to get specific.
Yes.
For a long time, people had perceived two different poles of Republican foreign policy. There have been interventionists, and those have been people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham and George W. Bush.
I oppose that.
And there have been isolationists. And the most prominent of those have been Ron Paul and Rand Paul, and there are others. And people...
I suppose I oppose isolationism as well, but I think it's a lot more of a sympathetic position. I think it's a stronger moral position to have, and the problem with interventionism is sometimes is what you might end up being is like the only person left in the entire world, the only nation left in the entire world that's on your side. And that's the problem with interventionism, right? It's because you can wake up 10 years down the line of interventionist, of an isolationist policy, and find you have no allies left, and then there's suddenly a shotgun pointed at your back, and you're like, whoa, what the heck happened here? Well, you don't know, because you were sleeping like a bear in your cave for 10 years. You weren't paying attention to what was going on in the world outside. So isolation is not the move, but it's a lot better than intervention, where you're basically going in and disrupting and colonizing and taking over other countries. Like that's also not right. It's good to have lines of communication with other countries, form allies, give allies things, that they want, that they need. They ask you for something, if it's reasonable to give it to them, provide them with that thing. Now, I think that you don't just do that to get friends. You use that for leverage. So if you want a country to do a specific thing, let's say there's a country where there's 5% of their domestic policy that you disagree with. Let's say we're looking at Germany. I'm like, hey guys, I think you should loosen up and have a little bit more democracy, maybe have more free speech in your country, get rid of some of these hate speech laws, and maybe we'll give you oil like a 15% discount or something. That is a proper way to use what's it called? It's called internationalism. Internationalism is what it's called. I want to say, where it's you cooperate with foreign nations, you help them, you give them stuff, and you're not going to attack them if you disagree with what they have to, what they do or whatever. But you're also not just hiding from the entire world. Internationalism in politics. Internationalism is a political principle that advocates greater political or economic cooperation between states and nations. It is associated with other political movements and ideologies, but can also reflect a doctrine, belief system, or movement in itself. Supporters of internationalism are known as internationalists and generally believe that humans should unite across national, political, cultural, racial, or class boundaries to advance their common interests, or that governments should cooperate because their mutual long-term interests are of greater importance than their short-term disputes. Internationalism has several interpretations and meanings, but is usually characterized by opposition to ultranationalism and isolationism, support for international institutions such as the United Nations and a cosmopolitan outlook that promotes and respects other cultures and customs. The term is similar to, but distinct from, good, because it's not the same, globalism and cosmopolitanism. I'm not familiar with cosmopolitanism. I'll have to read that on Wikipedia after the stream.
Perceive, those are the two choices. You got to be one or the other. I've always thought both were wrong. I don't agree with either one. The way I view my own foreign policy...
I'm with you, by the way, for whatever it's worth. I agree with you.
Okay, good.
I don't know who set up that binary, but there are lots of choices, actually.
I mean, people sort of naturally fall into... I think they want to classify people, and they're like, okay, you're one or the other, and you got to be all or nothing. And the interventionists, it seems, have never seen a country they didn't want to invade, and that doesn't make any sense to me. And the isolationists, I think, don't take the threats to America seriously, and I think that's naive and it doesn't work. And so my view, I consider myself a third point on the triangle. And what I describe that as is that I am a non-interventionist hawk, which sounds a little weird, but what do I mean by that? I mean the central touch point for U.S. foreign policy and for any question of military intervention should be the vital national security interest of the United States. How does this make America safer? How does this protect Americans? If it does, we should be strong. And actually, another way of conceiving what I'm saying.
Berlin in the chat says, gang, I'm 14, but I'm watching politics stuff. LOL. That's great. Part of me is like, how am I not boring you to death with this? But also, I remember that, like, when I was your age, I was listening to like 9 hours of talk radio a day. So, you know, I can't be pointing fingers here.
Should be the vital national security interest of the United States. How does this make America safer? How does this protect Americans? If it does, we should be strong. And actually, another way of conceiving what I'm saying, I'm speaking theoretically, but Reagan referred to it as peace through strength. And actually, I think Donald Trump's foreign policy is very much what I'm describing, a non-interventionist hawk, where he understands that, and I think this is historically true, the best way to avoid war is being strong. That weakness and isolationism, I think, encourages war. So going back to...
Because you're not negotiating at all. And so, you know, you could suddenly wake up and fight an enemy. Or you might be in a situation where you have to communicate with another nation and you're just on such polar opposites, or you don't even know how to negotiate at that point, where it's like, well, we know how to do one thing. We know how to shoot a gun. You know, so that causes big problems.
Regime change, where you started in Iran.
So just to make, I don't think I disagree with anything you've said, so we may not be that far apart, really, because you said that the single criterion for making decisions about America's foreign policy is America's national interest.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Which is also America first. That's another way of putting that as well. I think
it's the definition of it. Yeah. The question is, are we watching that now?
We're sorry to say it, but this is not a very safe country. Walk through Oakland or
Wow,
Philadelphia.
Studio must have changed a lot since he made that ad.
So
does he even
most
shoot
people,
out of
they
that
think about this, want to
studio
carry
still?
a firearm, and a lot of us do. The problem
Looks
is there
like
can
he's
be massive
broadcasting on the set of
consequences for
Yellowstone.
that.
Okay, here.
Yours today, Berna.com.
So I think we are, and from what you've said publicly, I think on Iran in particular, you and I disagree. And all right, let me contrast it when Obama was president. When Obama was president, you remember he talked about wanting to have military action against Syria. And at the time, I tried to keep an open mind to it. I said, okay, let me listen to the commander-in-chief, describe to me how this is in America's interest and what your plan is. And Bashar Assad was a bad guy. He was killing his own citizens, and he had chemical weapons that were very dangerous. I could conceive of a commander-in-chief laying out a plan for, okay, we're going to go in and say, grab the chemical weapons and leave. Like, I could see that if there was a real threat to America and there was a plan to prevent that, I could see supporting that. So I wanted to hear what he had to say. And I listened both in classified briefings and public questioning. And number one, their public defense of it was incoherent. So John Kerry said, we're going to engage in an unbelievably small strike. I think that's a quote. I'm like, okay, and to do what? At the time, there were 9 major rebel Islamic groups in Syria. I'm like, okay, I agree, Bashar Assad's a bad guy. You topple him. And one of the 9 other groups takes over. 7 of them were affiliated with radical Islamic terrorism. You had Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. I'm like, wait, how is it better to have lunatics who hate us in charge? Assad's a bad guy, but I don't want worse guys in charge. Obama administration couldn't give an answer to that. And ultimately, when you press them, John Kerry in particular, I pressed, and he would say, well, we need to defend international norms. Like, what the hell's an international norm? I don't know what it is, but I'm not interested in putting U.S. servicemen and women in harm's way to defend one.
Amen.
So I opposed the Syria attack and opposed it vocally. And it was interesting. Rand and I agreed. Rand's a friend of mine. But we agreed with that position for different reasons. What I was asking is I think the question we should ask, how does this make America safer? The Obama administration couldn't give me an answer, so I opposed it. I think Iran is very different.
Let me ask what you think of how Syria wound up, because Bashar al-Assad now lives in Moscow.
Yeah.
He was taken out by our allies, and he's been replaced by a radical Islamist who was affiliated with ISIS. So is that a win or no?
Unclear. Look, Syria's a mess, so I've consistently opposed.
But we had a secular leader in a religious and ethnically diverse country. Now we have a religious extremist, Islamic religious extremist, who's overseeing the purge of Christians and Alawites. Is that better? That doesn't seem
Well,
like
look,
a win.
one of the things you said is you said he was taken out by our allies. I don't think that's right. Israel didn't take Assad out. What happened, and I'll tell you.
What about Turkey?
Turkey didn't take him out. So it was interesting. I had a long.
How did Assad get kicked out? Yeah.
When Netanyahu was in D.C. a couple of months ago, he and I sat down for a couple of hours. He's a good friend of mine.
I'm not sure if this answers the question. One thing that's kind of annoying is Ted Cruz is answering these questions in a bit of a roundabout way.
And we talked actually about Syria. He made an interesting point that I've not heard anywhere else, in that he said he believes what toppled Assad was when Israel took out Nasrallah. Nasrallah was the head of Hezbollah, and they took him out. And he made an interesting point. He said it's fascinating how a charismatic leader, and Bibi said, look, Nasrallah was a very effective terrorist leader. And when they took him out, that power base was supporting Assad. And that ultimately, in Bibi's analysis, removed the support from Assad and toppled him. But they weren't trying to take out Assad. My view now, I don't know.
So you don't think that, and I don't, it is very confusing, and I don't know that anyone really knows all the details, but you don't think that Israel or Turkey or NATO ally Turkey played any role in toppling Assad?
I don't know. I don't know that they did.
Interesting.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
Tucker, the title says Tucker leaves Ted Cruz struggling to respond on his push for a regime change in Iran. I'm really surprised that Ted Cruz couldn't provide straightforward answers. He didn't really straightforwardly answer some of the questions. Now, maybe in the full interview, he does get to the full answer, and I don't have the time to react to the full interview here. I don't support regime change, so I think I'm a bit of a more of an interventionist than Ted Cruz. And if you're going to push Ted Cruz, he's probably going to say, yeah, I support America funding regime change, which is like, to me, it's like, no, that is like anti-democratic to do. We should not be doing that. All right, I am going to be playing the finals. Give me a second here. I'm hopping into the Discord server here. Oh my goodness, the audio. Let me test something here. Oh my goodness. I gotta go fix that audio setting again. In the meantime, I'm going to turn TTS back on. Give me 1 second. So when you guys send me chat messages, they will show up in you'll be able to hear them audibly. Berlino in the chat says US making the Golden Dome. I have not heard of this. The Golden Dome? This sounds like a very Trumpian thing to do, to be honest. The Golden Dome. I can't say I've ever even heard of the Golden Dome. Here, let me check. Yeah, I gotta go into the command center. Gotta turn off the Bluetooth telephony. I kind of hate having to do this every single time I turn on the computer. You know, I gotta give credit where credit is due to Linux, because Linux, it was way easier for me to set up my audio settings on there than on Windows. Let me see. Where do I find the services again? There it is. View devices and printers. Here it is. Devices.
Freleno said in the chat, I am a lose my mind. I was about to search something but I forgot.
Oh. That's always annoying. That happens to me all the time. Let's see. Services. Hands-free telephony. That's what it's called. There, I got to disable hands-free telephony. And then if I try audio, it's sounding normal again. Okay, perfect. Good, 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 good. Okay, let me message Craig and tell him that I'm about to hop onto the finals. It's nice to hear him hop onto the stream, because he's on the left. So it'd be nice to hear his thoughts on like some of the political stuff that's been going on lately as well, which I guess we can talk about as we game. Let's see here. I don't know why. I updated the game, but the game was already installed on my computer as well. Looks like OBS froze on my end. No, it looks like OBS crashed.
Brayleno.
What in the world
in the
happened
chat.
with OBS there? That was weird.
My Wi-Fi is worse than I don't know what it's so banned. Brayleno. Said in the chat. Bad.
Huh. I wonder what happened with the stream is so weird. But yeah, is your Wi-Fi always that bad? Messaging Craig, told him that I'm about to
said in the
play
chat.
the finals.
Oh.
I don't know why it's taking so long for the game to load. Also, I don't know why I'm getting an error saying that YouTube is not getting enough data to do a smooth stream.
Brayleno.
I'm not getting any dropped frames on my end.
No, I'm in Jersey and the weather is so bad. RN. Brayleno. Said in the chat. My power went out 3 times today.
Bro, honestly, same. It's kind of crazy. Wait, so if I pull up the stream on my end, I just want to see if there is glitching or anything, or like frame drops. It seems fine to me. I don't know what it's complaining about. But I didn't know I didn't know that all this stuff needed to install. But I mean, technically, I probably should have at least like opened up the game after I ran the updates. It's been like several months since I played the finals, so. Oh, wait. I should also message Craig. Because while I'm waiting for the game to load, it would be fun to
finals when it's done
chat with him
downloading
as well. Just while I wait. Yeah, I mean the squad comms one
Brayleno.
channel.
Said in the chat. You stream good, it's my Wi-Fi.
The game is still loading, installing or something. There we go. Oh, actually the game just started. Started loading. There we go. There we go. Took long enough. It's one of those things where you have to like leave and try to do something else to before everything starts working. Like I don't know, looking at your phone while you're driving. Hey Craig, what's up? Wait, hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going all right.
Are you not able to hear me? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, no, I just been waiting about 15 years for the finals to load.
Gotcha. What are you running your audio through here? It sounds a little far.
Oh, it does? Oh, so I've got a Fine SM7B. And this is what I use for my streams as well, but it's got heavy compression on it, so it probably doesn't sound as
that
distant.
might be it.
Yeah. Well, the compression, of course, can't be run through on Discord, so that's why it sounds so far away.
Okay.
I mean,
neat.
I mean, I could make it be coming in through my webcam. I don't know how this sounds. I think I've done tests and it sounds horrible.
Yeah, honestly, I was just wondering because I was wondering if it was going through the right thing or not. So
yeah.
Cool.
Oh, wrong webcam. I forgot I have two. Yeah, this is the other one. This is the actual one I'm recording from.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound nicer. It's not as full of a sound, but it's like clearer.
Oh, maybe I should keep this on for my Discord calls then.
Just in my opinion, the other one sounds like you're in like the opposite corner of the room, just a bit, a wee bit, through Discord.
Well, it's at like 25% volume, and then I have it boosted for with compression in OBS.
Okay.
Because that's better than it clipping, and then you just have distorted sound. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Oh, what is this? Discovery.exe. The application was unable to start correctly. Click OK to close the program. Yeah, it looks like
When's
the
last
file's
time you
closed.
played?
Oh, months ago, many months ago.
Nice.
I don't think I played it since X Defiant came out.
Oh, did you play X Defiant?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I played Concord, so I can't judge. But,
yeah.
I played Concord up until the hour it was taken offline.
Oh man. Yeah, that was pretty
so
sad.
Good.
Yeah, X Defiant was a game like I didn't play it super often because I don't really have a whole lot of time to game.
Yeah.
Generally, but it was pretty fun. I think it was mostly the people who played it. You mostly played it because it was like a COD clone, and then they just kept on getting distracted by new CODs coming out. So, hold on, what is this?
Yeah.
I need to look up this error.
Say that again?
Oh, so I was saying I need to look up this error because
interesting.
It keeps popping up and it's not letting me play the finals.
Do you know what your ID in the game is, so I could add you as a friend? Probably not yet.
I don't, but I can find my Steam ID here in a second.
So I don't think it would run through Steam.
I'll
just wait till you get in.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I've really been getting back into it recently. Oh, there's a new circuit contract. Oh, that just opened up. Sweet.
It's an anti-cheat issue. Well, yeah. I don't know what that's about. That's so strange. Hold on, wait, let me open up Steam. Brayleno in the chat says my finals ain't working either.
Chat.
Are you getting the same error?
My finals ain't working either, LOL.
Wait, Brayleno, are you getting the same error?
Sorry, my headphones slipped off for a second. What'd you say?
I was talking to Brayleno in the chat. He said that the finals doesn't work for him either.
Huh. I haven't had any issues, but I know I'm running a different platform.
Yeah, game systems are way more stable for gaming than computers.
Yeah, it's just such a huge benefit for what I prioritize, at least.
Yeah, I just like the gameplay with PC a lot better, like mouse and keyboard and stuff.
Yeah, you know,
Brayleno.
I mean, I did pick up
Said
a
in the
very
chat.
basic gaming PC,
No,
and
mine's
I
just
don't
A
use
and
it very
loading.
often. I honestly still like my controller feel, but it's part of it is definitely the haptics with
Brayleno.
PlayStation.
Said in the chat.
That it
It's
just
stuck
feels
like
like
halfway.
I don't know, playing on a mouse keyboard's like drinking flat pop.
Interesting. Well, I mean,
Brayleno.
part of it is if you grew
Said
up
in the chat.
playing on
It's
like
at the same spot
controller,
on the
then
blue
it's
line as
probably
you.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I was playing a lot of Roblox too, and FPS is on Roblox, but still,
Brayleno.
my favorite games have all been
Mine crashed.
Sony exclusives, so I'm sure there's a lot of association there. But yeah, man, a game with good vibration on the PS5 controller, it's like you get it, Danny DeVito kind of meme.
You get it. Oh yes. I know what you're referring to. I was confused there for a second. Yes. Yeah. Oh man. This is kind of frustrating because I'm suspecting I'm gonna need to like uninstall the game and reinstall it for it to work.
Whoa, that's really extreme then.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because I looked it up and I couldn't find anyone reporting the same error except for like one other person.
Yeah, that was my first thought too about a good old-fashioned down detector or something.
Yeah, it failed again. So I'm gonna uninstall it and reinstall it.
All right.
Cool. But how have you been in the meantime?
Pretty good. Yeah, work's been really extra busy recently, but I still love my job and it's good.
Brayleno. Said in the chat. Bro, I've not played Fortnite in a while. It
have
sucks
I been enjoying
now.
my job?
Brayleno.
Just how have you been?
Said in the chat. Been a year.
I've been good. Work has been very, very busy lately because we're doing like like multiple projects at once that all kind of like culminate this week.
Said in the chat.
Yeah,
it's the type of thing where like you're changing your entire company from like one system to another, and so
oh really? So
yeah, so like when you do that, of course, like people are gonna have questions about the thing they're supposed to be using. So that causes a lot of tickets for us. So it's been very, very busy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know we have people like you at my company too. For when we change systems and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and there's the corporate stuff where things are changing internally as well. So
okay, yeah.
Generally speaking, not super drastic, but it does affect things a little bit.
That makes sense. I've been doing a lot of one of my team members has been getting a lot of projects in, and me and another coworker are kind of like overflow for her then. So we've been very busy recently just supporting her since she has been overwhelmed. That's part of our role, but it's a lot of extra work that's outside of our normal stuff.
Yeah, that's it's nice that you're able to support her like that, so she's just not drowning there by herself.
We're cross-trained.
That's good.
So that way we can, but yeah. It's not, I don't enjoy it as much, which is why I'm not, in her role. I'm in my role.
Right. Yeah, for a reason, yeah.
I'm not a project manager, I'm a terminologist, yeah.
That's cool. I was talking, I was telling the chat that you're Craig of the Craig Cam fame. You remember when we were streaming back in Cedarville? There was the Craig cam.
Yes.
So like when I was talking about politics, you would talk to me, and there was the camera.
I had my cam for my opinions. Whew, that's been a minute. Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah, sadly, that was very fun. Sadly, Discord does not allow two devices to be using it at the same time, like with the same profile, so I can't really set up a camera in addition to having my audio running through my PlayStation.
Oh. Wait, didn't they? I know that back in the PS3 they supported webcams. They don't support webcams now?
That's a really good question.
Because they had like the PlayStation Eye or whatever it was in the PS3 or PS2 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any new hardware, but let me look that up, see if there's any third-party stuff. I imagine they do. Yeah, let me see.
Oh, and as my my game starts downloading, I'm noticing that the stream health is dipping slightly.
Yeah, I'm sure downloading might be a little. I would hope it would be more intensive than playing.
Yeah,
but you'd have a better idea. Oh, look at
it
that.
Depends.
Maybe there is some
this game is pretty well optimized, so at least it was last time I checked.
Oh, it's so well. You know what is still well optimized, but unfortunately poorly performing?
Braylon.
Which is
Said in the chat.
That's impossible.
Doom the Dark Ages on console.
The Dark Ages.
Doom the Dark Ages on console plays at 1080p and 60 FPS. Oh. And that is the worst looking out of any of the modern Doom games. And it's quite unfortunate. I think you could get like 4K 120 or near maybe 2K 120 FPS with no ray tracing out of Doom Eternal on PS5. But really? Unfortunately, Doom the Dark Ages has ray tracing baked in, and without an option to disable that, the resolution is just permanently tanked, and it was very, very disappointing. It's still a phenomenal game. The gameplay is great, but just to have the first game released only on next-gen platforms be the worst looking on next-gen platforms was unexpected, because normally it optimizes things so well. But once you realize what's in the game, it all makes sense. Like the number of on-screen enemies that it has is staggering. The fully destructible environments, the chunks do not disappear. They don't fade out, they don't shrink, they don't sink into the ground. Every little, like, you break a chain and there's a bunch of chain links over the ground, and they will be there, and you can run 10 minutes on the other side of the map and 10 minutes back, and they will be exactly where you left them. They interact physically with the environment after they're demolished. It's really, really impressive, but it's more of the performance demand goes into the gameplay than the visuals, so they really had to crank down the visuals.
That is cool, and I think that would probably be worth it if I had to imagine. I think it adds
in a
to
game
the
that
experience,
has such a
right?
visual. You not when you can't see it very clearly because the resolution is so low.
We're talking about 1080. It's not that bad.
But the details that are drawn here, I like the resolution on textures is lower than, and
you know, you probably grew up playing more games on modern systems than I did, because I really didn't play that many games on modern systems growing up, so I might be a little bit more forgiving than you might be.
Yeah, and I'm also playing this on a TV as well, so like 1080p on a 55-inch TV is a big difference from 4K.
Yeah.
Very notable difference. And yeah, and I think it's the first game that isn't running at Doom game that isn't running on at 4K on a PS5, and the fact that they have more detail in this one than any of the previous ones, and the visual fidelity drops, you see like, oh wow, I didn't see that thing until I stood right next to it. The environment is harder to see.
Interesting.
It was sad, but the game is still phenomenal. But I'm sure it's as optimized as it can be. I don't think they wanted to take the time to have an option to turn off ray tracing, and I think if they did, it could have made a big difference.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're being more forward-thinking.
Doom Eternal has.
Yeah, and maybe they were being more forward-thinking and being like, oh, this is the game to play on the PS5 Pro. Because there aren't really many games like that right now.
Yeah, they have not advertised that, and it seems very... I don't think there's... Other than a Final Fantasy game, I don't think there's games that have significant differences on PS5 Pro. Because I have followed a lot of that. There's slight bumps that you'd really appreciate if you're playing on a large screen in a lot of their first-party games, but I have not heard of any standouts other than a certain Final Fantasy that was very, very poor. Because they have to patch in use of like PSSR. It does not like default improve performance.
What's PSSR again?
And that's the big disappointment. PSSR, or Pisser, as many will refer to it as, is their AI upscaling.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yeah. And
it's
for the things for like the older
PlayStation
games.
Super resolution or yes, it's their AI upscaling, which has been used a lot to increase frame rates or increase resolution without having to strain the system. And then that it can be put into frame rates, I believe is how that works.
I completed the tutorial.
It's a very new and popular technology in the world of PC gaming, and then PlayStation took a shot at it, and it can't automatically apply to everything. It has to be connected to the game to function that way, is what I've learned, at least.
I see.
If I'm understanding things correctly.
Do you like the system?
I'm always good at talking when I'm on a stream with you.
Wait, what'd you say?
Do I like what? I'll go ahead. That's all right.
Oh, sorry. I missed the tail end. I was gonna ask if you like the AI system or not.
I mean, I've never played something with it. It seems to be doing wonders on PCs, though. So it seems phenomenal there.
That's a good sign.
And there's still a pretty high cost for it, but from people who I see talk about this stuff online, I like following a lot of video game news. I hear and see really good demos of it.
I should do that more often because I'm behind. Well, maybe it's not the worst thing to be behind on, to be honest.
Yeah, there's more important things.
Yeah, for sure. So I went back to some of my gameplay footage from the last times I played the finals, which looked like it was actually a year ago. At least the last time I put the finals on my stream titles, and I think my username is just not a newbie. So.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted there, so I just hit you with the default phrase of wow. Okay, great. I will search for that and see if I can add you as a friend. You're still downloading it, right, though?
Yes, I am. Yes, 8 gigabytes out of 27.7.
All right, then this match that it just pulled me into probably won't probably end before you're done with that.
yeah. I'm assuming.
Would you ever play Power Shift when you played in the past? Because I've really been enjoying that mode. It's a good casual
Power Shift
thing that's good to complete objectives with and whatnot.
Is that newer?
It is on the newer side. It's a large platform, 2 teams of 5, and as you hold the platform, it moves towards your objective.
Yes.
It's a push of war.
Yes.
Instead of a tug
I'd love
of war.
to play that.
And yes, that's what I play the most out of anything, honestly. It's really, really good to be able to grind out things for different games too. Different not objectives in the game.
Yeah, I like the ones where you gotta like try to hold a position and things.
Yeah.
My favorite mode in X Defiant was basically the same thing. I don't think it's unique to X Defiant, but
okay, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize they also had that.
yeah, it's like there was a robot. You have like a timer, so you go up to the robot within a certain radius. Your team pushes it forward, and then the timer goes off, and then the other team has to beat your time by making the robot go farther than the other team did in a quicker time than they did.
That's in Marvel Rivals as well. Identical.
I haven't played Marvel Rivals. I don't think I have enough. I don't think I'm horny enough to engage in that game.
That you're what enough?
I don't think I'm horny enough to engage in that game.
That's funny. Yeah, I've got my zombie Doctor Strange skin. I'm not gooning. That's funny. But yeah, no, it's pretty bad. It is.
Yeah, the way that they've designed the skins is one of the major reasons I haven't played the game. It's like I don't think I want to engage in this.
Yeah, gotcha.
Especially when like the types of games I like to play are either like an open world or like a generally open world adventure game. I don't know if Power World is an open world game exactly. Type of game, or like a shooter that's like technically an arcade shooter, but it looks realistic. I don't think that Marvel Rival fits into any of those archetypes.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Kind of the same thing with Valorant also. What's it called? Like hero shooters or whatever?
Is it? Yeah, Valorant. I think it's also labeled as a hero shooter, but it's definitely more on the competitive side, and I do not like it at all.
Really?
Freleno.
Yeah.
Said in the chat.
It's one of those games where you like can't even aim down sights with most guns. You're just like, you're just shooting as tightly and fastly as you can, and yeah, not a fan.
I see. Yeah, but on the plus side, I do hear that people start. I do hear that people start dating by playing Valorant together on Discord servers. So there's that as well.
Yeah, that is a plus side. Maybe.
Yeah, it depends. I don't really know what gamer girls I like. So.
The only thing with Power Shift though is it can be plagued by snipers.
Yeah, I always run into those, but that's just
and the APS. The APS turrets that will destroy incoming grenades and projectiles. Once you put enough of those on the point, you're kind of unstoppable as a team.
Those are annoying. Oh, Berleno in the chat says, "Wait, is that a CD collection on your shelf?" No, that's a DVD and Blu-ray collection on my shelf. I can't remember if on my Now to Be Vlogs channel I've done a full breakdown of everything I have. If I haven't, I probably should. Especially because I kind of took a semi-break from collecting new stuff. Although I'm about to start collecting again soonish. Like within a month or two ago.
Freleno said in the chat, "You is not reacting to chat to save your life."
As soon as I said that, the guy wrote in the chat, he said, "You is not reacting to save your life."
Freleno said in
like
the chat.
Not reacting to chat.
Got it. Freleno said in the chat, It looked like CDs.
No, they're not CDs. Actually, hold on, wait. While this thing is loading, I can show you. This is the if we're going by release date, which is everything there is sorted by release date. Well, you've got shows sorted by release date, and then you've got movies sorted by release date. The newest movie that I have here by release date is actually one of my favorite films of all time. I saw the TV Glow. Came out last year, I want to say. A24 film, psychological thriller / horror film. Really good movie. I feel like I should be watching more movies in this genre, to be honest. But yeah, one of my favorites.
Bray Leno said in the chat.
I've not heard of it.
I thought you forgot you was streaming.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Bray
I don't think it was.
Said in the
marketed
chat.
very well. Can you hear me, by the way, all the way over here? I'm across the room.
Yes, I can.
Oh, nice. Nice. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to hear me.
Oh wait, I should not have jumped off the point.
Maybe not. I don't remember that being the point of that mode, so.
You are a little softer, but yeah.
Bray Leno said in the chat.
Sorry, I'm multitasking here.
Oh, I assumed you were busy.
Said in the chat. Also, guess what?
Bray Leno in the chat is also wanting to play with us. I think he got the game and finished the tutorial. Bray Leno in the Discord server, say what your tag is, and we can add you. Hold on, wait.
The Embark ID, I think is what they call it.
Embark ID. Yeah, he said in my Discord server, says, "Can I play with y'all? I got a good chair and good aim, LOL."
Priorities.
Said in
That's
the chat.
funny.
You gotta start reading. The chat reader is late by a few decades.
I'm reading the chat. He's complaining about me not reading the chat. This is funny. It's funny. Okay,
said
hold on.
Chat.
Wait, I was gonna say.
KK.
You can play us. Just join us in the squad comms and send your Embark ID. You said is what it's called.
Yeah, 90% certain. In one parallel universe, it won't be called that. 1 out of 10, I mean.
Let's see. There we go. Nice. So
once this round ends in a minute and a half or sooner, I'll be able to add him as a friend on my end, and I can initiate our party making.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Do you stream anywhere? I can't remember if you stream or not.
Nope, I don't. I'll record clips.
Oh, that's right.
And put them on YouTube just so I can reference them or share them. But that's it for me.
Bray Leno.
That is
said
cool.
in the chat.
It's a fun idea though. But and I do play a lot. I did actually stream Concord.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And one person watched. And I had never streamed anything, but it was like the final hours of Concord, and I figured that would be a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, that was through Twitch.
Through Twitch? Let me see if I can find you.
PlayStation has a nice integration. Oh, bad move on my part.
Bray Leno said in the chat.
Yeah.
I forgot my Steam password.
Well, I don't know how Twitch saves things or doesn't save things, but
yeah, I think the VODs disappear after a certain amount of time. It was kind of a thing.
That makes sense.
As a kid, when I had started streaming for the first time, I didn't really stream consistently until college, but when I started streaming for the first time, I was streaming on Twitch for a little bit because I like the community and so I found out about streaming and stuff. But then like basically as soon as I started streaming, they changed the rule where they were like, you're not allowed to like your VODs can't stay up forever. Like they'll get taken down after a week or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dumb. I feel like all the VODs should stay up. So I ended up streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up streaming on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, the integration with like the PlayStation's nice. I've streamed like EA Sports College Football 25 games on Twitch before, just because it's more convenient than doing it on YouTube.
Nice. Yeah. There's oh yeah, I'm back to the menus so I could add the other person as a friend here.
Yeah, did Bray Leno also why hasn't he joined the Discord? Like the VC.
You're inquiring of Bray Leno, correct?
Yes, of Bray Leno, yes.
I was close.
Oh, also, I know we're always talking about politics in our Instagram DMs. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about? Because I know for you it's a lot easier to talk about like ideological things and philosophical things verbally versus messages on a platform.
That is correct, but no, I don't really think so. I'm good.
No hot takes on Israel versus Iran or anything?
Oh, well, I mean, the differences between the U.S. intelligence and the Israeli intelligence are notable. You know, like Kristi Noem making a claim. They did a really good, like, hourly play-by-play on The Daily, which is a radio show that runs on NPR. I'm trying to remember who produces it, but they did a good timeline of who was saying what and when it came to claims and plans and attacks and arguments for why things should or shouldn't happen. I feel like you'd be interested in it, but I think that's the most interesting thing right now is the I haven't seen if there's been major updates from the U.S. intelligence community, but last major announcements I've heard is that the U.S. intelligence community does not see Israel as close to being able to produce a nuclear weapon.
Well, Iran is being
White House
close.
Press Secretary. Excuse me. Yes. It was a long day. The press secretary cleverly said that the American intelligence community sees that Iran is closer than they ever have been before. Which is so wisely said because it has the sense of urgency, but it's also entirely relative. You know, maybe they have 3 atoms of uranium-235. You know,
and I
instead
think
of 2.
I think it might be true as well, because in the opening segment for my stream, I dived into, in part, some articles discussing how much people know about Iran's nuclear capabilities and things, and also went back to the IAEA report because I didn't emphasize this in my initial segment where I talked about it, but the IAEA never said that Iran has nuclear weapons. They basically just said they're no longer being transparent with us, which is they're the body they were supposed to be transparent with when it comes to keeping their word under nuclear obligations since 2019. Okay. And so to me that says, well, I mean, what exactly are they going to hide if it's not development of nuclear weapons? But at the same time,
Yeah,
the
that's
IAEA doesn't have proof that they have nuclear weapons or are developing nuclear weapons, and they said that a couple days ago.
That's really good to know. I'm trying to think what my other point on this was. I mean, I have seen good montages, largely from more late night news personalities on Netanyahu talking about how Iran is a couple weeks to a couple months away from having a nuclear bomb. Montages over the course of the past 20 years. And then a classic response to that I've seen is people pressing Israel on why now, in terms of why confront things now if you said in 2005 that they were weeks away from having a nuclear bomb or something along those lines. Those are not exact numbers, but that kind of sentiment. So,
well, in 2000, part of the article that looked up, there were peace talks around nuclear weapons in 2005. So.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was when one of the instances I had pointed to where Iran was saying they want to destroy Israel, and they were like, "Whoa, this could derail the peace talks." Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's quite fascinating. Oh, did you see Tucker Carlson drag Ted Cruz through the mud?
Yes, I actually reacted to part of that. Yeah, I reacted to part of that.
That makes sense.
Not the one where that's gone viral, because that was about the Ukraine war, not the Israel Iran war, but
said in the chat.
Yeah, kind of interesting, but I will say
sent the ID thingy and add me to call.
Tucker Carlson's position on war, I find somewhat frustrating.
Yeah,
because he seems to not.
I'm not familiar.
So he seems to not think, oh, I gotta give Bray Leno the gamer role so he can join. But he seems to think that war is not justified if you're killing civilians. Basically, he thinks, and he says that if you're not targeting civilians, but if you know that your act is going to kill children, then it's evil and you shouldn't do it.
Rare Tucker Carlson W.
Well,
but also that's still that's still putting too many limitations on it for me personally. But
yeah, I agree.
I am I believe in Christocentric nonviolence.
Yes,
it's a term that I have heard there. It's not the same as pacifism, but it's oh, look at that.
Oh, Bray Leno is here. That's a really good way to put it.
It's Jot.
I think it's the first time you've ever joined me on a Discord server, actually, or like a Discord call.
Hold up.
He's like 14 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, just
good five him.
Yeah, just my it annoys me. I think for someone of his level and like how long he's been in both the media and like aware of politics, I feel like at that point it's like I feel like you should see the benefits of war. Not that it's something you should like engage in gleefully, like someone like Lindsey Graham or Netanyahu likes to do. But
I know you have a very reluctant view of war.
Yeah, but I think it's necessary to do, and I think if you're doing a necessary war, specifically like a defensive measure, I don't think it's evil at all. Such as like Iran strikes on Israel.
Join a call right now.
like Iran strikes on Israel, which were retaliatory. I think that was necessary, and I think maybe it hurt or killed some Israelis. But like, you know, if someone is attacking you, it's self-defense.
Yeah, I will still absolutely acknowledge the spectrum of morality within war. But Oh yeah, I think one of the hottest takes and most interesting takes. Oh, nice. Sorry, I just see a nice cosmetic in the game. Is there was footage of an Iran rocket that had done damage hitting in a civilian area in downtown in some city in Israel, and so one of the comments said, wow, look, like they're targeting civilian infrastructure. And a response to that comment said, unfortunately, Israel places their headquarters in densely populated civilian areas, using them as human shields. I think I said that to you, a direct reference to discussions with Hamas, and that was just too perfect for me.
Wait, you know what's interesting?
Like,
I have a communist friend who believes that unironically. I don't know how true it is, because he said a lot of things to me that I have looked up and ended up not being true. But I'm simply going off of a video footage of I wouldn't be surprised if a Pentagon Facility is literally in a populated metropolitan area. Yeah, that's literally what I've heard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You're right. I've not verified that either, but just that whole comment was a perfect blend of everything I enjoy in politics. Cynicism and satire and comedy and poignancy. And so yeah. That's probably perhaps the most interesting political matter I have to discuss.
Yeah, it's definitely the hottest topic going on right now. Bray Leno, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell's going on. Kind of lit up.
So real.
That's fair. I mean, you're
a lot of people don't have the courage to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what's up. But I mean, at this point, you're just literally eating hot Cheetos and stuff. I don't think you're not gonna get drafted. So
let's go grab Funyuns. Oh shit, I'll be right back.
Oh, I literally just ate all my Funyuns.
Oh, your Funyuns? Oh, Funyuns are peak.
Yeah,
I had a big debate with. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the only thing I was gonna say is my only qualm with them is they get stale very easily. So that's why I ate them.
That makes sense, yeah. I had a very large debate back in the day about whether Funyuns or beef jerky were healthier.
Funyuns. I eat 6 bags a day.
Is
I don't get Funyuns. Funyuns are way better.
And I made a strong argument that Funyuns are healthier than beef jerky. And
I agree.
I'm not talking about pure sustenance, but 1-to-1. Not talking about living off of one versus the other. Yeah, right. I still stand by Funyuns. And it has less going on entirely, both good and bad.
Yes.
Funyuns is a good low-content snack.
Yes, with lots of air. They're not dense. I think that
Yes.
Doesn't beef jerky have copious amounts of sodium and stuff? That will mess with your blood sugar.
It's a deadly amount of sodium. I remember my mom one time told me that if you eat 6 bags of jerky.
6 bags of what?
Every other word there. 6 bags of Doritos, I presume?
No, 60 bags of beef jerky.
Yeah.
We lost him. We lost him.
Yeah, in and out.
Can you hear me?
60 bags of beef jerky. 60 bags of most things would probably kill you. But if it was enough sodium in 60 bags to kill you, and all that kind of compounds, did some good research in a class in high school where we had to do some research on some issue, whether that be in the community or larger society, but something I think somewhat connected to us, and me and my team picked apart the horrible nutrition facts on the school food that was publicly available. And we also had to like reach out to somebody about this as a part of this project, and we reached out to the people who manage these nutrition facts. And one of the first things they said when we pointed out that like one serving of their macaroni and cheese has like double your recommended sodium intake for the day was, oh yeah, that information was out of date. It was like one of their first responses. And we're just like high schoolers here.
Wait, so the nutrition facts were out of date, or the recommended daily dose of sodium was out of date?
The nutrition facts were out of date.
Is that legal?
And it's kind of, it was like a spreadsheet for a public high school's nutrition facts. So it's got a very different layout than like your packages, you know. So if nothing else, you know, we gained that. But yeah, coming back to sodium, yeah, large amounts of sodium are associated with like a smaller hippocampus, which we drew the attention to because we're like, yeah, you kind of need that in school.
Yeah.
So that was a fun discussion. So yeah, I have no doubt that 60 bags of beef jerky has presumably enough sodium or anything to kill you.
Hey, you know what? 60 bags of water would probably kill you.
Yeah. Oh, that's even more guaranteed.
60 bags of water. You don't drink water. You don't drink water out of bags.
You know.
Have you had water out of a box? Boxed water?
No, just a water bottle.
Canadians drink like milk out of bags or something. So like, I mean, it could be done with water.
I may have heard about that somewhere.
Maybe that's England.
It's probably cheaper to package.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it feels like a little more European.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I got out of school today, and we got like a final map, like 8 wide. Like...
Huh?
This is fun piecing this together.
For ELA, wait, can you guys not hear?
No!
It's pretty bad. We get like every third word. So what I heard, I can recap here. So you got out of school today, and you got a map, and it's 8 wide,
No.
and something with EOA. That's what I got.
No. Here, so we have a map testing, which is 8 wide, like testing for like each subject and stuff. And for ELA, I'm smarter than 91st%, like 91st% of all New Jersey.
You said 91st.
Oh, I heard percentiles, and I heard New Jer, so which I'm assuming is New Jersey.
New Jersey. That is cool. Wait, so you e-load your intelligence?
That's incredible.
You e-load your intelligence?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, it explains how you're not bored by my political streams. Cause I was literally asking you, like, how are you not bored by my political streams? He was like literally just sitting there, like reacting in the chat to like Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson talk about like foreign policy.
I typed it.
That was cool.
Read it for us, Amar.
Wait, so what do they test for in that test? Like, what was the name of the test that you took to figure out that you're
apps testing? It's literally just like state testing.
Apps test, like AP?
This might be a different term if it's a state test.
Oh, maps.
Yeah, it might be a New Jersey exclusive system. Oh, maps?
This is a New Jersey exclusive.
Yeah.
Guys, hear me better?
It's still pretty iffy.
Alright, what about now?
Ooh, I got like 4 consecutive words there. Keep going.
I think it was a full sentence, yeah.
Wait, does this work better than the other?
Yes, it's still cut off at the end, but we got all the way up to the word other.
Oh, I found it. It's okay. It says this is from NWEA. It's called Map Growth.
NWA.
NWEA.
That's a dangerously close acronym.
Map Growth helps New Jersey educators see what students know and what they're ready to learn next. That's nice. It's like an aptitude test.
Yeah, it's when I heard that apps thing, I was thinking of aptitude tests that like the military does in recruiting.
Mm.
I'm using a laptop in New Jersey right now. No way I can do anything. It's not my fault.
You can do everything except for be here clearly on the Discord call.
Bro, I'm gonna send you the map like what the weather is looking like.
Wait, watch the stream and hear what it sounds like on our end, because he keeps getting cut off.
Give me a second.
Wait, are we getting cut off on your end?
It's I assume not.
Hmm.
Interesting. I've been listening to a lot of the music from the finals recently too. It's nice to work to, because it's very high energy.
Oh shit!
I didn't know that was on Spotify.
Yeah, it's all on Spotify. Even like B-sides and every single track. It's very, very well laid out.
I'll send you this.
Oh, Embark Studios. Oh, what's the name of that daily episode of the Daily? Or what day was it? Because I subscribe to like basically any podcast I've ever heard of, and so I have it here. It's the New York Times. Yeah, literally. So it's like, have you ever heard that episode of the podcast?
Yeah, from the
I
New
look
York
it up
Times.
and I can just like play it. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday. And that's right. It's the Daily from the New York Times. Now that I hear it being said, I can remember my ears hearing those words.
It's one of the few successful left wing. I don't know if it's left wing, but I mean, New York Times leans
NYT.
left. So yeah, I think they host the Ezra Klein show, which is on the left.
Right now.
Okay, will the U.S. join Israel's war with Iran? That's what I see here. I think the Ezra Klein
that
show.
sounds like it would be the right. I think that name sounds right, but the Daily is definitely the name of the show that I was listening to. That did this wonderful timeline, including they kind of pointed to the idea that Trump was distancing himself early on from Netanyahu's discussion of attacks and Iran being close to developing a nuclear weapon. And after I forgot I have 2 grenades. After they hinted at the idea that perhaps it was after the success of the attacks that Trump tried to say he was in closer connection with Israel. And just in a very cliche media presentation of Trump as attention seeking and credit seeking in a lot of areas. Is kind of what that felt like there. But it was a point I had not heard made before, so I thought that was interesting.
That is
They'll
interesting.
explain it much better than me. I'm giving you a little abridged version here, but just with the timeline of like what Netanyahu said, what Trump said, both referring to like Twitter posts or X posts. I feel like Twitter and X was the first Gulf of America for liberals.
That's so true. That's so true.
I have such an easy time coming up with these little witty remarks when I'm live streaming or with you.
Yeah, I mean,
love it
because they're not the types of thing like if you try you'll do it. Like it's kind of difficult to do on command. So
yes, it is.
Like
it
jokes.
is, and also it's difficult for somebody to be able to understand it like at work.
Oh
So
yeah,
Can you guys hear me better?
Oh yeah.
it's a lot more consistent, but it sounds like you're streaming.
I can't hear you as well.
Sounds
At
like
least
you're in a car.
volume wise too. Yeah. Let me.
I can't hear you guys as well, but I got my AirPods. So
It's a lot more consistent. What were you using before?
I was using my the camera on my built-in into my laptop. Like
Well,
my
this is a
camera
lot
has
better,
my
for sure.
laptop has a built-in camera and has a microphone in it. Use that.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I looked at the link you sent me in Discord. This is from NJ.com. It says, NJ weather, strong thunderstorms, isolated tornadoes, intense heat, all threats
Look
on
at the picture,
Thursday.
gang.
The picture.
I think you.
Wait. Is this a tornado?
This is right now.
Missed the thunderstorm. Wait. There's enhanced risk for a lot of New Jersey. Hold on. There's got to be something like broader going on in the United States of America because, you know, I'm on the East Coast. We experienced lots of rain that had my power got knocked out 3 times today. There was a game in New York, the Yankees game. The New York Yankees game today got was on a rain delay. So is there like a massive band of weather that's been just terrorizing the entire East Coast?
I mean, ironically, coincidentally, we had our daily rain today in the evening, like it does every day in the summer, but it was a little heavier than normal today. But I don't think that's connected to a front that's with the rest of the country.
Interesting. I find it interesting that there's so much rain just across the East Coast.
Yeah, every once in a while you do see a really big front go across. And it's fun to see. Wow, I'm playing the new map for this season. And it's very, very nice.
That's cool. We should play it.
It has this yeah. Say that again. Sorry.
I think we should plan it when it finishes. When my thing finishes downloading.
Yeah. It'd be really nice. Yeah. What are you at for?
I am at 63%. It says 25 minutes remaining.
Okay.
So
what time is it? Let's see.
10:45. Normally you wouldn't be able to.
I might push it a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Normally I wouldn't be able to be on this late, but my parents are gone, so they're not dead, by the way. They're just on a trip.
About to say what? Your parents not? Because you said
no.
My parents are gone, and I'm like, wait, what happened?
No,
it sounded right to me, but I still get the joke.
No, they're not gone. They're just on a trip.
Let's see.
Wait, I have a genius idea. So my school changes our passwords for our emails every year over the summer. What if I change my school password without them knowing it's something else, so they can't change it?
That wouldn't work. I don't think.
No, it does. I can do it right now.
Well, the thing is, they probably reset the passwords on the back end on their end, so they probably don't even need to know what the password is. They can just change it. Like that's how it works with our IT department. We could just reset the passwords, like even if we don't know what the password is. I couldn't imagine an IT system.
I tried different guns in this game, and they all seem like trash.
Wait, you don't like the guns?
Oh, well, I try a different gun than what I'm used to, and guns like that I never see anybody using, and I feel like I always understand, oh yeah, that's why nobody uses this. It's clear competitors outperform it. Something along those lines. Like, it just feels more work to accomplish the same objective.
Oh, the TTK is too high.
Yeah.
Oh.
You
know what I do love about the finals is the cosmetics. The cosmetics are pretty good.
Oh yeah. I actually did buy the Ultimate Battle Pass this season, which is a new Battle Pass kind of system / idea that they have, in which there are more stylized versions of like the best items, and you can only get this battle pass through purchasing it. You cannot buy it with like saved up currency, which is a difference. But oh, there's a slide in this map. Oh, best map ever.
Oh, I think I saw a picture of that.
Yeah, I'd only played it like once before because I don't think they have power shift on this map. Maybe, hopefully yet. So I only seem to get it. I've got it for team deathmatch and a quick cache. But I don't remember what I was talking about.
I think you were talking about the battle, how you like the battle pass and the map and stuff.
Oh yeah. I do. I really like it. You do get like 1,000. You get $10 worth. It costs $30, and you get $10 worth of credits right away. Plus what the regular amount that you could unlock from the battle pass. But it has like fancier versions of a number of cosmetic items in the existing battle pass. So outfits, you essentially get 2 outfits, and everything might be recolored, or redesigned with more detail, or something cool like that. And I originally wasn't like that excited, or I wasn't expecting to buy it at first, but somebody on Reddit, I was reading about it, how it works, noted that it really supports the developers and the game. And once I read that, I'm like, yeah, this is a game I want to keep going, so I will contribute to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a lot. That was a big monologue.
No, it is a good monologue, and that's people underestimate how valuable it is and important it is to support like creators and stuff. Like, that's why like I'm big into physical media. And I wouldn't be opposed to buying video games. The reason I don't buy video games is not because I don't like spending money, which I am not the biggest fan of spending money. But it's mostly because I don't think I would get much worth out of it for how little I game.
Yes. I really try to have that approach in a lot of things in life. You know, I do not buy things to try them. Like buying a musical instrument to try to get into playing a musical instrument. I really try avoiding that kind of purchase because I see it happen a lot. Just with people, or like buy some like new cooking tools so they can make a very specific food item, and it just never ends up getting used. And I really try to avoid those purchases.
That's wise. That's wise.
So. Does this guy want me to revive him on TDM where there is 0 benefit to reviving? Because I ain't gonna do it.
Oh, I guess.
I'm currently trying to get enough kill.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just filling time. You're good.
I think the other news thing I meant to ask you about, I forgot earlier, was about the whole like ICE deportation thing. I know that news wave has sort of died off, but I don't think have we ever like discussed at length like immigration policy? I can't remember if we have.
No, I don't believe so. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think the way that I at least look at like protest reaction to it is, I do think that there are some immoral immigration laws that the country has. So I guess that would be the first claim that I'd make. And then it makes me think differently about law enforcement. Not the people, but what is and is not enforced. Because as you've seen in every administration, it's selective.
Right.
What laws are prioritized in terms of an enforcement, and that flexibility can be good. Yeah. Unless they need a reason to, and that's where things get a little bad. If it's politically selective in terms of law enforcement. So yeah, no, I've got some big concerns. It seems like Trump has fallen back on his campaign promise of deporting the bad hombres, as he said, his term.
Yes.
It feels like he's. I mean, I think we had the discussion that quotas are, I believe, unethical, and I think you agree that they're bad. And it just feels like he's kind of been, that the priorities are a little more optics focused. I do see concerns, and I haven't researched into this, about what needs arrest warrants, and people questioning actions that happen without arrest warrants in terms of law enforcement. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, there was a article that ICE released under the previous Trump administration, I want to say. Oh yeah. Man, let me see if I can find this again. But the gist of it is, like, you don't need ICE doesn't necessarily need a warrant to like go after illegal immigrations, but they need like there's something else that they need. I forget what it's called, but it's basically they do need to have some level of probable cause. I don't know what that level of probable cause is, but it allows them to more speedily get the approval to go in and do like a raid or something like that.
Yeah. The other, I think one of the biggest concerns that I have, and I don't know how widespread these are. I don't have an objective number, but legal actions being taken against you without an opportunity for representation. Legal actions being taken against you before you have a chance to represent yourself or defend yourself. That, I think, can be one of the most concerning issues across a moral and political spectrum.
So you're saying it's concerning that people are arrested without their lawyers present, or without or without the ability to contact their lawyers?
Yeah, that's that, and the handful of examples. I don't know if there's been a lot of deportations without time for ample criminal defense there. One interesting thing that I don't remember my source on, but I heard that crossing into the country over the border violates civil law, not criminal law, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard anything about that.
I haven't heard that, but that might be an argument for more speedy deportations and less, because the difference between criminal law and civil law, of course, is that there's a smaller barrier for conviction for civil law. I actually, let me look that up and see.
So Yeah, I think a lack of due process, and it's always the question. This is really exposing a big question in our democracy of, do constitutional rights apply to non-citizens? And for a long time, the Supreme Court had ruled yes, that they do, but that's really being challenged right now in courts and cases. So.
Yeah, I probably need to familiarize myself more with what the immigration process is, but it's my general understanding that in the vast majority of situations, due process is being followed. Now, I think the people complaining about due process,
it was the majority.
Yeah, I think the people who are complaining about due process, though, their concerns, like it's fine for them to have their concerns, but it's not concerns with due process not being followed. It's that they don't like the due process. I wish that those people like use their energies more towards like actually changing the law, though, rather than saying the law shouldn't be enforced, which I've called for immigration law to be changed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Because I'm pro amnesty now, basically.
It seems like that has stopped.
Calling for laws to be changed. Because I'm basically pro amnesty now, so.
Gotcha. Yeah. I would be too there. I heard it wittily said by some Democratic, I believe, mayor, who said like, "Oh yes, I also agree that there should not be any undocumented immigrants in the country. We should document them all."
Yeah, I mean, it should be either they get deported or documented.
That was witty.
If they're like violent or whatever, they'll go to jail. If they're not in a red state, or if they're not in a blue state. So like.
Oh yes, and that's the other thing that I've heard. Like, the law enforcement is very targeted at blue states. So it's interesting the status of people who are undocumented in red states being relatively safer.
Well, I mean, that's not going to last forever, because I know, of all places to hear about this, I heard about this on the Dan Le Batard show, which, I mean, he leans to the left, but he's a sports guy. And I think Trump is coordinating some sort of like ice sweeps for the World Cup. I think it's called the World Cup, the CONCACAF or whatever it is. There are too many cups in the world.
Yeah, like the CONCACAF. Yeah. I believe that's.
And it's happening in Florida. So there are probably going to be illegal immigrants swept up over there, and it kind of is noteworthy because it's a red state.
Yeah. So does the term illegal apply to breaking civil law is another question that I wonder. Because I associate
I think illegal,
but I don't know.
I think illegal means being in the country illegally. You can be a non-citizen but here legally, such as being here on like a work or student visa. Now, if your visa is revoked,
that's another topic.
Right, but now if your visa is revoked, then you're illegally.
Yeah.
I think depending on what your situation is, there might be ways that you can get legal status. I know of people like, I mean, I'm not going to say my relation to them, but I know of people who have had illegal status and then got legal status through working with like lawyers and stuff. So
sure. I mean, there are like members at my church who have received threatening emails from the DOJ. It's a very different issue, like when you can talk with people who are like, yeah, people disappear where I live, people have just been disappearing. You know, I think in places that don't have lots of immigrant populations, it's a lot more of a remote issue, more of a political issue, and less of a personal issue. Yeah, just something I've kind of picked up on. I also, you know, do a lot of speculation on like, am I okay with people breaking non-violent laws to save their own lives, to substantially improve their chance at surviving, and deciding what priorities exist there. I think I largely am, and that's why I shot you the question once about would you break other countries' laws to bring to bring your family out of poverty. I mean, it's a clear foil that I'm setting up there, but I think those are important questions when you're living in a system that executive orders can delay law enforcement and like congressional laws that have been passed on TikTok anytime you want.
Yeah. I mean, it would definitely be worth considering.
Yeah.
The thing is, just like if you're gonna break the law, then you have to acknowledge and accept that might bring certain consequences to yourself. Now, if you're under a certain administration,
and that's what
if you're under a certain administration, then it's like fair. Like it's a lot more understandable if you came here legally under like Joe Biden than you did under Trump or Obama. Because the messaging from Biden was like, just like, come on over, the water's cool or warm or whatever the saying is.
And the messaging from Kamala was, do not come. Just thinking about that audio.
That was crazy.
Iconic audio. Yeah, and there's very, very good, like, full personal stories that I'll hear told on the radio, in which people have come and applied for asylum, and that process has taken a decade, and they receive very little information, and then like things are moving in a positive direction in terms of their claims being evaluated, there's progress being made there, but then with an administrative change, all of that changes, and then they immediately face being deported. And I think those are it's also really good to hear. I was listening to some no, that's too big of a topic jump. Sorry. I'm still playing the finals. This is fun. Yeah, and I don't think I've heard any I think there's far too little interviews and discussions with immigrants, and I mean, understandable because of the threats that they face, but those have been some of the most informative discussions. People who are in the asylum process, people who have been or work with those who are. I think there's far too little discussion with those people. This is like having an issue on whether or not to regulate a drug without any of the drug makers. It feels like the discussions are a little, I don't know, not well matched up with the topic, to me.
Interesting. I guess if you're talking about looking at laws in ways that you can improve the immigration system, then yes, yeah, I would agree somewhat. There's certain things that I don't think you need much discussion to realize that there are severe problems that need to be fixed. Like, my two biggest problems with the illegal with the current immigration system don't even involve well, one of them involves changing the system, but it's generally just like making it run more efficiently. First is that, like, if you're trying to come in legally, it should not take as long as it does. That's because of understaffing, so that needs to be fixed. Second of all is there's a massive problem that I think I want to say Obama caused this and it hasn't been fixed since. And maybe I'm wrong, but is when illegal immigrants get deported, a lot of times or like detained or whatever, a lot of times it's like families. A lot of times the children will be separated from the parents and never reunited. That's a huge issue. I feel like doesn't get discussed enough, and I don't think anyone has come up with a solution for that.
It is a huge issue, because we have a system in which citizens and non-citizens can exist within the same family.
Well, it's not just that. It's like if the whole family's illegal, like what often happens is the whole family will be detained. The kids will be separated from the parents, and understandably so. Like there are certain reasons why you wouldn't detain adults with children, but especially if you're not sure what their identities are. But then when it's time to deport them, like the children just get like lost somehow and never reunited with their parents. Even if they should be deported, it's like, well, you're breaking up families in that case, whether it's like negligence or incompetence or whatever. I have not heard enough calls for the system to be improved in a way that would prevent that from happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another question is, if people believe that current immigration law is perhaps even immoral in what it allows a government to do, enforcement of that also immoral. I mean, if you're operating under step one assumption that like a law itself is immoral, well, I guess would you say enforcement is inherently immoral as well? I'm not asking you to label anything as immoral, any law as immoral or not, but just if a law is objectively wrong, is it also wrong to enforce it? A lot of people operate on this assumption. I was wondering what your take on it would be.
I think enforcement is immoral if it's the only method available for resistance. So,
and the only method for what resistance?
Oh, if it's the only method available for resistance. So, like, if you are in an autocracy, I would say the answer is yes. But if you're in a democracy, the answer is no. I think it's to violate the law. I think is like one of those things that you should only do as like a last resort.
Okay.
But like, because we live in a democracy, for example, like you can propose that laws be changed and whatnot. So I don't think it's as justifiable at this point to be like, well, I'm just not going to enforce that law, because what it also leaves the door open for is to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to enforce that law because I don't like it. Which I think is also a place that
and that's where I like
good.
That's where like creating labels with morality, because it's you can be a little more definitive when it comes to avoiding likes and dislikes. When we can talk about more moral topics like separating families, as you mentioned.
But you can cloak anything in morality, though. So I don't know if that is a super helpful descriptor. Oh, the final's downloaded, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then, should we also cloak everything in God honoring?
Oh, sorry. You said it again. It's starting to break up.
Yeah, I've lost a couple % on your end too. I said, should we also cloak everything in God honoring too. Then if I'm already cloaking everything in morality.
I mean, if we did, we would be leaning more into Christian nationalist territory there, which I don't love.
and I love how you label creating laws. I do feel like you slightly shift the traditional understanding of Christian nationalism and how you talk about it.
Sorry, could you repeat that, because it was breaking up a bit?
Yeah, that's fine. I think you slightly shift the traditional understanding of what Christian nationalism means and how you talk about it. But I think it's so clever that I don't want to disagree with it. So, I think most people understand Christian nationalism as applying. I think most Christian nationalists would understand Christian nationalism as applying a conservative evangelical traditionalist understanding of biblical norms into laws. I think you widen that, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, you widen that definition to applying like any biblically inspired notion into law, into labeling that as Christian nationalism. And I love it.
It's pretty close.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I agree with it. And I think just drawing the attention to, like, I think that is shifting the semantics of the term. Mm-hmm. It helps me be okay with not knowing how I feel about it. But yeah, you said that's pretty close.
Yeah. Like, my thing is, I think when you're looking at laws, even as a Christian, I would not be comfortable with promoting a law that you can't justify outside of Scripture.
Okay.
Because I think once you're using Scripture as the sole basis for your policy making, especially if you're diving into like the Old Testament and things under covenants that we're no longer intended to live under, you're getting yourself into a place where you're creating a theocracy, which, even if you look at Scripture, theocracies that God did not ordain are essentially cursed. So I think it's actually blasphemous to try to seek a like a Christian nationalist state unless you have God's express like anointing, I suppose, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like the idea of soul justification. For example, we saw Ted Cruz use poor hermeneutics in the sole justification of his support for Israel.
Yes. Which takes you in dangerous places. It's probably what Lindsey Graham is doing as well.
That's a great measure of what to consider a misapplication of Christian ideals to a biblical worldview. So, would you say that if you could, I'm trying to think of an impossible hypothetical to to discuss things with here, which is never good in discussions, but
impossible.
That's my best idea. Yeah, like if there were no ethical concerns with abortion, I'm trying to come up with an issue that I feel like would be a purely moral issue.
Impossible.
See, yeah, I knew what I was.
Oh man, that's a big one. That's quite a sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, due to like my understanding of salvation, I have very different priorities when it comes to abortion. But but perhaps that's making too much decision purely on scripture, not ethics. You know. But I don't. Yeah, that is a lot. And if you have the finals ready, in a minute my round will be over.
So I tried opening it. The loading menu popped up and then it like went away. Now I went into the task manager and discovery.exe is running, which has the finals logo on it. I think it's, and actually the description says the finals. I think it's the anti-cheat for the game. So I think it's running, but I don't see it up.
Okay. Who is shooting me and from where?
Here, wait a second. I wonder what happens if I hit play again. No, that's actually probably worse. Let me close out discovery.exe and try running the finals again.
Wow, Team Deathmatch is a long mode because it's a best of 3.
Best of 3. Oh, Bray Leno, are you in the finals as well?
Oh, I forgot he's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to TikTok because we all just having some argument or something.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're in?
Nice.
Okay. You sent your ID in the Discord, right?
Hours.
Should probably hop off soon.
Dang.
Because I have work tomorrow and it's been very busy, so a tired
cares about
work day,
work?
it won't be fun.
Play some games.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
That's what I did every other night this
Just do it again. Oh, the streak. Do it again.
Dude, keep up the streaks. If we can do one more team deathmatch or a world tour, I will stay up for another one of those.
Okay, I'll give it like 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll hold out and see. Give Amar 3 minutes. And we'll go from there. If I start another team deathmatch, actually a world tour might just be shorter than team deathmatch, so let's do that.
Yeah, I see the loading pop up now, so.
Ooh, let's go. Well, then I'm gonna cancel my my queue here.
Well, it's like the thing where like you double click it and you see the little thing on the screen that says the finals. It's not the full window. Oh, okay, now it closed. I feel like it's... Yeah, now it's gone, and the same thing's happening with discovery.exe. I don't know if it's crashing or if it's loading in the background still. But on Steam it says play, it doesn't say running, so...
I'm reinitiating my queue.
Yeah, I suspect we might be out of luck tonight.
Yeah. I'll play one more round on my end just so I can complete this weekly objective.
And I will I'll leave whatever discovery.exe is running because I do suspect it is the game, but it's just taking too long to load.
Okay.
I think it may take like 30 minutes or whatever to load completely. But oh, it's using a bunch of RAM. Maybe it is working. Which it wasn't before. It was like 15K, but now it's at like 500K and climbing. So that's a good sign, I think.
Okay, good. Wow, I have an all-medium team for World Tour here. This is gonna be interesting. And there's not a single heavy in the round. So I should play as a heavy.
Nice.
And cracked.
The status just switched on Steam from play to stop, so that's also a great sign.
Cool.
See, on Steam it says activity. Say something about this game to your friends. Here, you can type that in. Something about this game to your friends. Oh,
Yo,
there we go.
I got an idea.
Wait, what?
You should write my new song, bro. I had your advice. I used it.
Okay.
My new
Wait.
song rhymes.
You know what? After I finish messing around with the finals, I'll check it out. Wait, so you actually followed the advice about like staying on beat and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it sounds patronizing, but that's the actual advice I gave.
Yeah, that's valid. Really?
Because it's sort of like he did like a rap song or something, and it like started off okay, but then after a while he kind of like gave up on like rhyme scheme and things, and it basically just ended up being like a here's what I did today at school vlog.
Gotcha. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have as dynamic of critiques. I'd probably be like, I'd pay too much attention to the sample.
Also, I got a beat and I found a random dude on TikTok, and he's gonna feature on my song.
Oh, yeah?
There you go.
That's neat.
It's a good day.
Yeah, it's my first serious song though.
Oh. Wait, so the song you made? Oh, that's right. It's all meme rap, right? Because I remember now you had like goofy titles.
Yeah.
That's dope. You have to share that when you finish making it.
Well, I got my music teacher to react to it, gang. In class, too.
Hey, that's what's up.
Listen to it.
Did you send your music teacher the song that you had shared to us?
Yeah, that's the one the entire class is.
Oh, it's in music. It's for a music class.
Yeah, I have a music class.
Yo,
that's even cooler.
That's pretty cool.
Funny. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
I like comedic music, or there's a difference between comedic music and funny music, but I like that kind of music with humor.
Oh yeah.
That's all I do. That's all I do.
Nice.
Yeah, one of my favorite meme raps was also by someone who I think he was about Ray Leno's age when he made the song. Right now it's called like a rap song, but the full title of the song is called like a rap song about killing a lot of people but I don't, or something like that. A rap song about killing a lot of people but I don't, or something like that.
Self-aware kind of. That's like good. Self-aware kind of.
That's like good. He basically is like pretending that he is like a gangster, like doing all these crimes when he's not, and he's just like listing, like saying like, oh, look at all these heinous things I did.
That's funny.
Like
I'm so bad. There, finally. Yeah, and it's really, and I mean, the road, the peaking again, like, you know it's asparagus time, because asparagus makes you red. It's really funny. I should send it to you. That thing is just, and then I found our German rap and some comedic stuff, but their puns are just like, they're a blend of German and English, which are really interesting for me. And they're called Outer Spaß. And in German, Spaß means fun. But it looks like space in English. English.
That
So
is
that's the kind
cool.
of wordplay that they have. It's bilingual wordplay. And it only makes sense if you know both German and English. So it's like really cool, but
That's really creative.
it is. Oh no.
That's the cool thing about like bilingual
respect.
stuff. It's kind of annoying if you don't know the other language. Like it's always found it super annoying when I like run into a tech video with an English title. I understand like the first 30 seconds and then the rest is in Hindi. But generally speaking, like it is cool to see what people can do when they mix like language stuff together.
Yeah. The German asparagus song is literally called Spargelzeit, which is asparagus time. Like, and they describe all these different things and then have this very sing-songy voice saying, like, because it's Spargelzeit. It's so funny.
What? I can't believe this is like a thing.
Yeah. The other thing that, if I remember right from my German classes, is people will cover their asparagus with bags so that it's white instead of green, and I think it tastes a bit different that way, and people like how it tastes that way instead. So in the video you see them uncovering some asparagus.
Huh.
And it's white.
So they actually are people who know how to make the asparagus and plant it and stuff.
Yeah, or they just stuck a couple white pieces in the middle of this road. But I think it's like a common crop, like in Germany. Like people would grow a couple asparagus plants, and like how tomatoes are kind of a popular thing to grow in the U.S. If I remember, we discussed this in one of my classes. That's
at least react to my song.
I can't right now because I don't want. I want these shaders to precompile, but it's already freezing up my stream, so I don't trust that it's gonna look smooth when I start playing your video. Unfortunately,
It's not a music video. It's not a music video. It's fine. It's fine.
But it's still like it's gonna look choppy and weird. I already did one stream where the video was choppy and weird, and that didn't turn out great. I mean, no one complained, but that's just because no one watches my videos.
Ooh, you are cutting out now, Amar.
Yeah. Yeah,
significant enough.
Yeah. But this is fun. I should do this more often. I should have you.
You should get files to work more often.
I should. Well, I should get everything precompiled and loaded so that I can actually like play when we schedule to play.
That would be super, super fun.
I mean, now that Xdefined is gone, I don't really have anything else to play.
Yeah, go for it.
Except for Halo with the other Kai 3 guys, but they're like all busy and married and stuff, so.
Boo. All right, well, very nice talking with both of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a nice night, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. You too.
See ya.
All right. Let me see here. Let me pull this up. So the stream is super choppy, and it's just gonna be super choppy because it's pre-compiling my shaders for the finals. But thanks to everyone. I'm gonna be super quick because of how slow my computer is running and the encoding being overloaded and stuff. But I do want to say a special thank you to every single person who tuned into the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Bray Leno in the chat, thanks for not just popping into the chat, but also participating in the stream and getting the finals. Like I was expecting you to get a game and hop onto the stream, but I do appreciate you doing that and you know, being a part of the stream, and I hope that you can do that in the future, because that'd be very, very fun to have you on the stream, especially if you're making music and stuff. It'd be neat to sort of be a part of your music journey and include you on the streams when we're also like reacting to it, talking about your music. So don't forget, check out the Non Newbie Highlights channel every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I upload a video at noon for your enjoyment. Check out my Discord server as well, dscrd.ntwb.cc. It's the place you want to be if you want to chat with me. If you go there, then go to the React requests. I'll be there. Well, not I'll be there, but if you send a video for me to react to or a story for me to react to, there's a high chance that I will check it out there. You directly influence the things that I talk about on the stream by your conversations on my Discord server. So if you want to influence me like your APAC, go to the Discord server